last week, but we got some crazy stuff going on with teenagers right now.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say with real estate, and I was like,
No,
I bet you do.
I mean, we see, Buddy's been telling last months, but
Yeah,
yeah, tennis. One of my daughters plays tennis, and it's almost every day, and it's like the team plays from like 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock every at least twice a week, sometimes 3 days a week. It's just crazy. That's a long time to be out there watching.
and it's the game, so you guys wanna go watch?
Yeah. And we don't know, she's JV, and so like they don't know, it's whenever varsity finishes is when they start playing, so.
It's like, how fast is this?
It could be
tennis
any, yeah, it could be anywhere from 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Wild. Well, do you guys meet people at tennis court?
Yeah, sometimes,
So you
Yeah,
can add them to your
we would check.
database?
yeah, we would chat with the other parents for sure.
Yeah, I met a bunch of my SOI on the softball field, same as my daughter played, so. You just sit there with them, just talk,
Claudia's been doing PTA and
yeah,
sports stuff.
anywhere we can meet people, it's our job.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, they took my note card away, I think on all yours. But, so we had some homework. We had some homework last time. Let me ask you this though. And Gidget, you can answer too. And I know Gidget's answer to this though, but have you attended an open house or hosted an open house?
Yeah.
And I know she has too. How did that go?
Well, we've done lots of open houses. It was a lot of fun during the craziness like 3 years ago. Because there were just so many people coming through, and then the last couple of years have been difficult with open houses.
Yeah.
But Claudia
You texted me? Okay.
Claudia's never really been into like the cold calling lead gens and stuff, so we didn't do a lot of like prep to get people out to she sent out stuff on Facebook and Instagram. Posted on KSL and all the different places, but yeah, it's been pretty slow the last couple of years. It's finally started to pick up, but we'll get a few people coming. But we have one this Saturday actually that we're doing for an agent down in Provo. And I think it's gonna be because I'm gonna do some cold calling through a dialer and then go knock some doors to
Yeah.
leading up to it.
Yeah, that's where we get tons of our stuff from open houses, and that's what they talked about the last class was open houses and social media, but really the way you get leads, the most effective way to get leads from open houses is to work them beforehand, during and after, not just the 2 hours on Saturday, right? Your house in Provo that you're gonna hold open on Saturday, what is the price range?
So it's in Layton. It's for an agent.
Oh, it's in Layton for an
Yeah.
agent in Provo,
Yeah.
okay.
And I just got the list. It's 800. 39.
Okay,
It's up on the East Bench. It's huge. It's like 4,000 square feet, 6 bedroom, 5 bath, 4,500 square feet. And they're not, so it's listed as of today, and they're not doing any showings until the open house on Saturday, so it should be like a lineup of people waiting to come see it.
yeah, probably a lot of agents.
Probably.
And they do like that for sure, yeah. That'll be good though, that'll be good. And then what about, do you post on social media? Do you guys do, are you doing social media too?
Yeah.
So the homework too is to what, post a real estate story on your social media? Do you guys do that every week? How often do you do that?
No, so Claudia was not. She was okay at it, but so I've taken that over too, so I'm gonna making sure I post at least once a day. In the 3 main ones that I do, so Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So I met with Kane probably met with, there's another agent out of Salt Lake that's doing a lot of marketing in LinkedIn And she's actually built most of her business off of LinkedIn connections. So I'm adding that into it as well. So
Yeah,
kind of my new thing. So I started calling expires last week. On Mojo Valley.
how's that going?
It's good. Like I've had some good conversations. I haven't had any real leads yet, but stuff to follow up on.
Yeah,
Good conversations that I can follow back up on.
yeah. And today we're gonna talk about some follow-up through that. So with that, do you post on social media? You don't really, right? Very much, Caitlin. Do you post on social media a ton for real estate?
Not recently.
Okay. But you used to more?
I used to.
Did you get leads from it?
Well, I did it before. I was like, I was just looking. I do a lot. Not, just like a lot of awareness. For people doing it. Yeah, no, like.
Good night.
Yeah. So if a client was interested in working with you, or you thought they were, like either one, you met them at an open house, you saw their post on social media, or they responded to one of your posts on social media, how are you gonna follow up with them?
I would respond on social media.
Okay, so follow up with them on, if they reach out to you on social media, you'll reach back out to them on social media.
Yeah. And then if I had other, so I would try to reach out to them too. I think like, if they reach out to me on social media, that's kind of an indication that that's the word.
Or maybe that's the only way they could, the quickest way they could get a hold of you, or where you would talk with them. So what kind of value could you provide to them on social media?
Again, if they're like, looking to buy or sell a house.
Well, you post something on social media, right? Let's say you post something on social media about you being in real estate, and they respond to you they respond to that post, or they reach out to you. And they're like, so let's say you post, hey, I sell real estate now, I'm at Keller Williams, whatever. And they comment back, congratulations. How are you gonna continue the conversation? Or are you gonna continue the conversation?
I would respond to them. I try to respond to everybody who responds on social media. My honest answer is I'd probably just be like, thank you. That's probably missing an opportunity.
Yeah, 100% it is, right?
Yeah.
And the next couple classes, so you guys have been learning about lead generating all kinds of different ways. Open houses and social media was on Thursday. But really, any way you lead generate only matters if you're gonna follow up with them.
Yeah.
Right, and so if we're not, like, if we're posting on social media, hey, I'm a new real estate, cause you just got your license pretty, well, I don't know if you got licensed.
I've been
recently.
like 4 years. But
Yeah, but you just got
Yeah.
full-time, you just jumped in full-time.
yeah, so I actually went into the referral status.
For a little bit, yeah. So if you post on social media, like, hey, I'm full-time now, and then people, that's lead generating, right? You're posting on social media like that to lead generate. So then what are we doing with the people that respond to that? So the next couple classes, I think 4, are about lead follow-up. So be thinking, and I know Jessica's gonna teach about it, and then be thinking about what are some good ways. Part of the homework tonight, that she's gonna give you at the end, is to create 3 different reasons to keep in touch with leads through whatever lead source you're gonna use. And in the recap email that you guys get, after each class, I think there's 5. Cause they're gonna learn about the 19 to connect, is that you? No. Who's teaching? Troy? Maybe Troy. So when he, cause you'll learn about a 19 to connection and 1 to cement, and so there's like 5 ideas for 4 different lead generation strategies. You want to connect, are you teaching 9? I think so. Capture one needs, okay. Love it. So, and then the next, so she'll be the last, probably for lead gen, maybe, and then the next are for a lead follow-up. So just start thinking about like, what are some ways that either in your past real estate relationships, real estate agents have followed up with you, or what are some ways that you're gonna, you would want to be followed up with if somebody like congratulated you on social, if you congratulated somebody on social media, what would be good response. Can you guys think of one?
Congratulating.
You post on social media, hey, I'm on real estate now, they congratulate you. You're gonna respond, thank you, and then that ends the conversation. So what's a way we can follow up with them that will continue the conversation?
Maybe ask them if they want like home valuation.
Just like, hey, thanks, you want a home valuation?
Well,
Are you really, if you, that could work. There's a lot of people not that bold.
I have done that and I said, oh my gosh, I am new to real estate and I'm
Yeah.
practicing.
yeah.
Yep,
that'd be
Can I
fun.
come practice on you?
oh, for sure, a gentler approach.
So that's exactly.
I did do one time, like, I'm doing 5 home evaluation weeks, like, you want me to do yours?
That's a good one. Yep. So I love that. Just, hey, thanks so much for congratulating me. I'm pretty excited, as you know, I'm new.
I am excited.
I am exciting and exciting/excited. And I want you to, I would love to practice on you. Can I do this? That's a perfect way to continue that conversation. What about, so let's go with an open house one, because that's what was taught last Thursday. So you meet a lead at the open house. What is the way you're gonna follow up with them that can continue the conversation?
So you're talking about a lead, someone that's non-represented that came in looking at the house. I mean. Probably a call would be best, just follow up and say, hey. Did you ever? I mean, have you looked at any other houses, how's the search going for the house?
Yeah,
I'd love to help you in that process. I have a lot of resources. There's agents that I work with. We know that stuff that's coming on the market all the time. Why don't you let me come over and we can chat about what you're looking
go over the process, right? Yeah, get a strategy session going. That's a perfect one. Yep, and then I think sometimes we think when we're hosting open houses, oh, yes, here. So, when you're hosting open houses, we think that we need to have all this stuff with us in order to host a successful open house. But really, then you don't leave yourself a reason to follow up with them with an item of value. If you have everything there, what are you gonna give them when they leave, what, the next day, right? And so I think having like a, I know Bradley had created this last week for people to go to some open houses and check them out if you haven't ever hosted one or been to one. And check out 3 of these, but having something like this that's really easy to create on that Saturday, and then part of your follow-up piece could be, you're like, here's other open houses, or here's the open houses for next weekend. But if you want a private showing, right, I can use you, just anything that continues the conversation. I think a lot of times that's what happens is we text people, hey, thanks for coming to the open house. And then we think they're gonna reach back out to us.
Yeah.
And the squeaky wheel gets the grease, like we've got to keep top of mind in that mind share. So that is good. Are you guys participating in the pumpkin patch event?
Yeah.
The office, are you? Okay, are you guys, is anybody online participating in the pumpkin patch event? With the office?
Can you hear me, Allison?
I can hear you.
Okay, no, I'm not going to this year.
Okay, anyone else? No, maybe not. Okay, well, and so be thinking of follow-up pieces of that from the people that engage at you, either whether they RSVP yes or no. How are you gonna continue the conversation and make it about real estate valuable? So, Corey was here, passing out Jambas. Let's see if he's here, and then I'll introduce him. You wanna come? I'll introduce you. This is Corey Raymond with High Mountain Home Inspections. So, he brought you guys jumper shoes, that was nice of him.
Yeah, thank you.
Feels like summer out there, so.
Super nice.
Aw, I'm missing it.
Okay.
yeah, help it. Make sure you guys are
Yeah,
pointing in
there's
that bag
something-
too.
Please, oh, God, please sit here.
Oh,
Okay,
whatever.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, a little swaggy, and I have some stress balls ears.
Of course. Take 2 of them, cause there's a lot. And I'm not taking them home. I know, it's. They're just kind of, oh, you're so welcome. They're just boring, so nothing too fancy, as long as they're not. but they're orange, so make sure you're not allergic to anything orange.
I love it, I love it. So Corey's a home inspector. You guys, know what home inspections are.
Yeah.
Anything online. Everybody does, but I'll ask some common, questions that we think. So what do you guys think is important in a home inspector?
I can say for my own personal experience, my clients believe that Corey is the best and that he's also handsome. Is that what they tell you?
So a home inspector is
I'm aging well.
So according to my clients, that's very important.
Oh,
And he meets the bill,
yeah,
we've done probably 20, I'll bet for you,
at
a
least.
lot,
Yeah.
over, I don't know how many years you've been selling, but it's been a long.
5
time.
years.
Yeah, we,
It's a minute.
good. That's crazy. No, thank you, Jessica, appreciate that.
But for real,
That is
what's important in a home inspector?
I think that they're thorough,
Okay, thorough.
great, and communicate,
Yeah.
which I mean, usually there's a really good written report, right, with pictures, so.
Yeah,
And when you're walking the client through, they're not scaring them away from buying the house.
yeah,
Probably the biggest
With the
one we hear
report,
is
yeah.
what's your main concern, and is it don't scare my buyers.
You've
yeah.
had a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
That are scared, that are
Yeah,
scared
that,
buyers.
that made something seem super serious that's not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the number one, what we hear, don't freak out my buyers.
Don't forget the word. Okay, what's number 2 that you hear?
Price, yep, how much do you charge, and don't scare my buyers, I think is the biggest. You know, how can we help you?
Well, and really, but be thorough is probably on there, and they're just not saying that. They're just assuming you're thorough.
Yeah,
It's important to like not, I definitely think not be a deal killer, but also if I have someone that's not pointing things out because they're more concerned with not being a deal killer than educating the buyer.
It's finding
There,
that balance.
that's
for
done
sure.
for me, right? They're done for me, right? Because to me, I want like your job, and I always, I prepare my buyers to say, the inspector's job is to find things wrong with the home or maintenance issues. That is his job. He's gonna come in and he's gonna tell you about grading, and he's gonna tell you the life expectancy of things. And that's 100% what his job is to do. And then our job is to take that list and go say, what do we feel is critical or a safety concern that we want to, that we're worried about? What would make us say no to purchasing this house that we need to negotiate? And what are the things that we're just like, now we have a good little punch list.
Yeah.
Things once
Hey,
we
you own
move
a
in
house
to
now.
go,
Guess
we
what
gotta
you're
do
doing on
these
the
things.
weekend?
Right, because you own a house and you're gonna be doing things, but I do think it's important to have that communication up front of this is their job, like they should find things.
yeah, that's what we're hired to do,
Yeah.
is find stuff. A lot of it we learned, and we work hard on this, is presentation. I can inspect a house that literally is falling over, and I can present that a couple different ways. You know, like Rusty says, hey, this house is falling over, run. Or your house is falling over, let's look into some helical piers, some water diversion, some options. So it's, a lot of it is presentation, reading your buyer the second they walk in that door. What am I dealing with? What words can I use or not use? We'll start vetting and building rapport the second they step on the property to know, can I use the word GFCI or can I not? Are we gonna be talking about the furnace filter or not? And so we really cater to every single buyer and try and come to their level. Wherever it's up here, we do not pride ourselves on being smart and
The
know it
know-it-all.
alls. We will come all the way down here if we need to make sure that buyer's comfortable.
Corey,
Uh-oh.
what is the name of your business, sir?
High Mountain Home Inspections.
Thank you.
You bet. That's him.
Yeah,
Cool.
so the camera's right here.
Yeah, the camera's like this.
Didn't mean to scare you.
Hi.
I feel like that's the principal calling me to the office. Yeah.
Cows too, and he was gonna be interviewed for something with Longhorns, and he was like, I think you had an inspection, and you were like, hey, listen, I don't know how to work Zoom. Can you help me? And I was like, yeah. I was like, here's
Thank you.
Zoom when you get home, and I'll make sure you got like a good background. And anyway, sorry to like throw you under the bus.
Right in the
like that.
middle of COVID too, I'm like,
It was right COVID, and you were like, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? Like, yeah, I'll help you figure out Zoom.
And I haven't been on it since.
You haven't? Oh, I've been on.
Hey,
it.
you're on it right now?
Here you are.
Oh, oh, nice to see you guys. Oh,
Tell us what's
funny.
the specific section that would be like, we would assume, like, what's a good example of why someone should get a home inspection? Because you found something crazy that they wouldn't have seen.
okay.
With their
Kind of a topic a little bit now is new construction. I think I did a post a few days ago about a softball size hole in the roof on a new home and everybody just, oh my goodness. That's a thing, like inspect your new homes. That's kind of the latest and greatest, I think, is, you know, you're only as good as your worst subcontractor and everybody has bad days. You know, everybody's
Everybody's
human,
human.
so that's been a topic a little bit, just making sure the public realizes that just because it's new does not mean you don't have a softball size hole in your roof. I did one.
Was that a missing vent pipe that they forgot to install?
I actually, we don't even know, because there was no pipes even in the vicinity. So we haven't followed up, but we probably should.
I have
We
a
don't-
question.
Yeah, Bridget.
Hey, so do you inspect just the buildings, the home, or do you inspect the land that it's on and the surrounding land that comes with it?
The land to an extent, depends on the house. We're gonna look at the grading, which is about 10 to 20 feet of the land. Past that, you know, we can look at fences or detached garages, but as far as like where your property borders are, not so much land. No.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, yeah, if, you know, people are concerned about sinkholes or slides and et cetera. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would get a geological survey for that type of,
Geotech-
land knowledge.
Yeah,
We do look at retaining walls,
say what?
retaining walls on properties. Like if there's
Retention walls, yeah. Retention walls, sometimes it's hard to tell whose property it's on, or, but if it's posing a threat to the subject property, you know, we try and pick up on that.
Do you give, recommendations of people to repair?
Daily, yeah, daily, 10, 15 times a day, we'll refer a plumber, an HVAC guy, an electrician. Structural engineer.
So that's a good resource too to have, is a home inspector that has connections like that, because then if your client, even if they're not buying or selling a house right now, and they're like, hey, I need a plumber, like, who do you know? And you don't have one, you could call him and ask.
And it's
Use
a fluid
recommendation.
list, like,
Yeah.
there are guys bouncing on and off our list all the time, because either they get too busy or we get some feedback that we don't love that reflects on us, and so it's a fluid list, so it's pretty, you know, up to date, I guess, is hard to find those good ones that are affordable and, you know, not 2 months booked out. Yeah, we got some good dudes.
David, I love it. Any other questions for him? How would they get a hold of you?
Literally in 2024, you can't not find me. Instagram, Facebook, email, text, like, just, yeah. Email, text.
Now, do you want us to fax you?
Keep zooming and I can guarantee you, we're not getting you on the books. Pigeon, I don't know. No, text is really good. Text is probably our preferred.
Do you want to write your
Preferred.
number up?
Mhm.
Will you say your business name again?
Yeah,
What is your phone number, please?
okay.
And you know you found the right website if there's 3 guys standing on a roof.
Yeah. That's old,
That's
that's
right.
old, but good.
I know.
See the clouds Photoshop, yeah. Oh, yeah,
I know.
getting the guys on that roof is funny, they were.
How many employees do you have?
So there's 4 of us full-time. 4 of us full-time. And then we have a marketing gal, I guess, or back-end gal, and then a scheduler.
Love it.
Also, fun fact, if you do follow Corey on Instagram, the High Mountain Home Inspections on Instagram, And if you find a picture that is like a really termite eaten beam, that's mine.
Oh.
That was my duplex, guys.
The one you purchased.
Yeah, and when it flooded, we found out that it had a lot of termites in there. And Corey actually connected me with a really great bug guy. And you know it's a big termite infestation when you FaceTime the bug guy and he's like, oh boy, okay, can I come over? I was like, yeah, I don't like your enthusiasm that much, but yes, Jeff, you can come over.
Oh, yeah,
Sure, come on over, Jeff.
Yeah. you know,
yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's
He
always
was like-
entertainment.
I was like, Corey's like, oh yeah, let's call him. And we're FaceTiming. He's like, oh boy, okay, yeah, can I come over? Do you remember how excited he was? I was like, yeah, I guess, come over, sure.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, if you have any questions, I'll reach out, social media, email, text. Or we can get you quick, quick-ish for how busy the market is. Not bad with 4 guys,
Yeah.
Like,
Getting
what's
busy.
the
This year it's been like 2 to 3 days. That can change, sometimes I get you next hour from board and sometimes it can be a week. So it's like a 2 to 3 days where we're trying to sit.
Which if you write your due diligence out far enough, that's plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, I've not ever had a situation where you guys couldn't get out. And I still wouldn't have time to negotiate if I needed to, or even have someone else come out and double check, right? If you guys say an HVAC needs to come out, there's always been
Still have
time
that
to be
offer.
able to do that.
And we get it. That's sometimes hard to do if you're trying to win that offer and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love it. Any other questions for him? Hey, you got his number, Gidget?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Perfect,
They are cool.
perfect. Hey, I love it.
You guys are wishing you were in person. Corey brought you jamba.
And it's delicious.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm kind of sad I'm not there for that.
Right? Yeah, I do first. Are you teaching first?
Jason, buddy is-
Look, if you want, they can come number 9, and so.
Yeah, for 10. I'm hoping he's coming to some of the other conferences.
I've been on before, but I haven't.
Actually, you know what I will say about finishing up the last of the stuff? One thing that I'll say about Corey, because I started using him a long time ago. And in the last couple of years, how many home inspectors have you heard say, oh, we're so slow, or business is down, or we have a lot of people saying, well, we can't sponsor that this year because the market's really soft. And this is what I'm gonna say about just like good agents, good inspectors, good lenders, there's gonna be an up and a down in your business because there's up and downs in all of our businesses. But every single time that I've talked to you over the last few years, when I've had other people telling me, oh, this, we can't do that, we can't do this. Corey's like, I am so busy. We are swamped. And I think it's because Corey works with really good agents, and good agents tend to like gravitate and stay with you, right? And so there's not as many ups and downs when you run your business like a business and you're professional. And I think that says a lot. So anyway,
Yeah. What we're trying to do.
I love it. Awesome. Thanks for coming.
I'm texting Troy.
So Jessica,
There's some little notebooks.
this
here,
is
too.
Jessica Ooh. Good job. You said it right. He is one of my favorites. Here we are. Tell us, how long have you been in real estate?
Almost 5 years, November 1st will be 5
November
years.
1st
Yeah,
will
so
be 5 years.
5 years ago, October 3rd is when I passed my test, and then November 1st is my official start date with Public Works, because it takes a minute to get all that.
Get it all worked out.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 5 years.
I love it. Where did your first transaction come from?
That was, well, okay, my first one came from somebody, but I don't count that. It was like a referral. I don't really count it.
Interesting. Why not?
I was on a team for like 3 months, and it was just such a small thing. I don't count it. My real one, my second one that I got and procured myself was from an open house. It was $799,000 listing up in Honeyville. And it was a divorce, so it was 2 buy sides.
Your
So I got-
first transaction from an open house and turned into 3.
And turned into 3 transactions worth over, like, just under 2 million.
Perfect. We're gonna go deeper on this story, which is not normally what I do. So tell me,
Oh, okay.
well, just because this is gonna be worth it. So tell me, you meet them at the open house. Did they walk in and say, hey, we want to list with you and we each want to buy?
Nope, they didn't. It was just the wife that came in and she said, my husband doesn't know that I'm here. He knows we're getting a divorce, but I just want to make sure that I've got things going on. And I'm like, okay, and by that time I had learned, it took me about 6 months, but by that time I had learned to just be asking really great questions. So I just was asking her questions.
Because they're not gonna come volunteer the
No.
information,
No,
right? We've gotta ask.
exactly. And I was able to empathize, I'm sorry you're going through that. That's a hard thing to deal with. I have some experience with divorce myself, so I get that that can be really hard. And what else? Oh, the lender that I was there, that I had with me also specialized in divorce. So then that was another piece of it, was like, oh, and by the way, here, I have the lender at my open house, Becky Snyder.
Love it.
So that was really good. I think we just made a really good connection, but it took another 6 months to get that thing even going.
So did they just call you 6 months later and say we're ready?
No,
So
they
tell
did
us about that.
not.
in this meantime.
So it was just constant soft touch. Hey, I was thinking about you. How are you doing? Oh, I remember this about you, that something made me think of you. Just these constant, just soft touches.
Did they respond to everything you sent out?
She really was.
She was
really was
responsive?
very responsive, and still to this day, I wish I would have remembered more easily how to find a motivated somebody that I was connecting with, because I did do a lot of chasing people who were not motivated. And with her, it was just easy. It was simple, and we just connected really well. And then she introduced me to the husband, and okay, we're ready to go. We had started shopping for her, and we started shopping for him, and we got them on the market, and then COVID hit and everything shut down. And I was like, I do remember they
Did that
asked me
feel like
those-
triple, quadruple stressful? Because now you have three first transactions and COVID.
and COVID. And so that was pretty wild, but what else was there? Anyway. Oh, at the interview, when I went in to get the assignment, they were like, hey, and this is for you guys. Hey, how long have you been in the business? They asked me that. And I'm like, oh crap, like 6 months, right? How many transactions? None. Well, okay, one weird one. But I just
We
said,
might want to know more about. That feels weird.
it just was
It's
silly.
okay.
Anyway, and so I said, yeah, you know what, though? I mean, I'm fairly new to the business. Haven't done very many transactions, but I want you to know that I have an entire team behind me. I have 2 brokers. At the time, Troy was one of the brokers, and Sean. I've got 2 brokers that are behind me. I have a team leader that's going to take care of me. And there's other people in the office. If I have any questions, we will find an answer for you. And I just was like confident that way. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, I am new, but you know what? I know where to find answers. If you have an electrician question, we'll find you an electrician, right? Like I just said, I don't know everything. And even to this day, I still don't know everything. So I go in with that same attitude. I don't know everything. I've done more transactions than I had back then, but I still don't have all the answers. I'll help you find them.
Yeah, I love it. Is that everybody's, like, that's a big fear for a lot of people, right? How long have you been in the business? How many houses have you sold?
Huge.
And it's honestly that, have you got that question since then?
No,
Yeah, it's pretty
it
rare to
doesn't
get that
happen very
question.
often. And I kind of set myself up for it because I was like, tell me about you guys, what's going on? And I'm like interviewing them. Well, then they're like, of course, want to turn it back on me, right? Like
So
if I
you were just
wouldn't
being
have,
friendly.
yeah, if I wouldn't have, they probably wouldn't have asked if I hadn't have been digging. So I was like, note to self, never ask those questions again. But it was fine because again, I mean, we had been taught that in Ignite, in Bold, that okay, maybe you aren't the one, but you have an entire team. Our entire office is here to help each other, and that's really why I'm stayed with Keller Williams.
Yeah,
It's because of that.
because it's true. You do have a
Yeah.
team of people.
And I've never, I think today, who was it? Jenny was saying, I know who to call in the office, and you find those people and find
Yeah.
answers. So
Yeah. So where did your last transaction come from? Your most recent closing?
myself. I bought myself a house today, so I just closed this morning and, yep, I went and picked up keys and vacuumed the floor and I'll go back after this and clean carpets, so. Yeah,
Hey, what about your last one before your personal one?
that's not me.
But congratulations.
Yeah,
That's one of the perks of being an agent, to represent yourself.
I represented myself and I used my commission for closing costs.
Mhm.
So that was kind of nice, because I've been capped, so I didn't have to pay that out of pocket, but. Last month was kind of wild, so I can't remember who was the most recent.
You could tell us where most of your closings come from, or does? I'm sure you
Where
do it
most
our
of
way.
my business comes from, open houses, 100% and SOI. So I think it was SOI is who I did the most from. Today, we went and did inspection today and it was SOI. So those are the two main.
So I tell everyone to go really deep on SOI, go as deep as you can, because really all the other things you're doing, open houses, social media, whatever. Expireds for sale banners, whatever you're doing, you're all getting those people to add to your SOI, to your database to grow that bigger. So go really deep on your SOI and then pick one or two other lead gen sources and go deep and get those systems built out before you spread yourself thin. Yeah, and try to go everywhere.
So that's what I did. SOI, I used to do door knocking. I'm getting too old, so I don't have the stamina. I burned out from it. But one thing that we're talking about, more lead generation. I did find a lender who was willing to, he had already set up, an agreement with Ocean Mart, a grocery store up in, Ogden. And I go stand in that door and I pass out treats to people and introduce myself. So very often the last time I went, I spent 2.5 hours, gave out 60 treats and walked away with 4 potential new clients. So that's not bad for 2 hours. I probably spent maybe 20, not even $20 on treats. And I just stand there and the agreement is that I pass out food. So I'm like, I look like one of those little Costco passer outers. And people, but it's kind of been good because I'm standing there and I've got my logo and I've got the Rocket logo and then I've got all these treats and people are like, what are you even doing here, right? But their curiosity is like, oh yeah, I'm here to help. So it really is a good conversation starter, which is how all of it begins, is with a conversation and
Getting
asking
yourself
good
in front
questions.
of enough people, for sure. What is the way you're following up with those? You don't have to give us all your secrets, but you could give us
All
a
my
couple tips.
secrets.
Like, how are you following up with the people you meet at the grocery store? Because they're brand new to your database.
I
So
am
how do you
not
know?
following up with them as well as I should. That's the moral of my story, but so for me, if it's like you can kind of
I
start
like your
gauging.
honesty.
If you, I'm gonna look in the mirror all night tonight, meaning everything I say to you, I'm saying to myself, because I'm always learning and growing as well, but to keep in touch with them very often by asking questions, then you can gauge, right? Are we talking about right now business? Most of the time it's not. Most of the time we're talking 1 to maybe 5 years out before they're gonna do anything. So they do get into my database, which I wish I had a better system for that, but right now it's just a matter of writing it down. I put it in my database. I send them a text, hey, it was great to meet you. So here's my contact information. I have a cute little digital card that I send to them. And then they do get categorized in command with A, B, C, and D, meaning how motivated I think they are, how much it's likely that they're going to interact with me or not. And then quarterly, most of the time, I make phone calls to everyone in my database, doing the DTD2, which is do the database 2, which means you take 2 alphabets each week and you do those 2 alphabets. So my command is sorted by.
And in coaching, if they
DTD2.
went through the stuff, there should be sorted like
Okay.
that as well. And then it's on the coaching calendar each week.
Of
They're
which
calling,
who
who
is
they're
calling.
texting. And
So I
writing
follow
out
that.
their-
Yep. I'm to a point where now my assistant is the one who just puts it in command. So she will go in and say,
Here's
on
your-
Monday is A through W, and it's all my A clients who are A through W. The second day is all my B clients, and then Thursday, Friday is my C and D clients. So then I feel like too, if I don't quite get
How
to
big is
the
your database?
Ds, close to 800, maybe like 750.
That's why you've got to do it like that.
Yeah, there are weeks that I can't get all the way through to those Ds, and they're not gonna respond to me anyway. This last round, we are doing a pet survey where, I'm expecting an offer.
Do you need to get that?
No, I'll just call him back, but, let's see.
You're doing a pet survey.
Doing a pet survey, so it was just a like a copy and paste, it was like, hey, and then I would type in their name. And I would say, we're doing a pet survey, we wanna know what people are thinking about their animals. What your questions are, like, what's your main concerns about moving these animals, right? If you were to buy a home, what would be your biggest concern? Obviously, it's gonna be smell, like every time. But all those answers got pushed into now a Google form. And so we'll go in, and the next step is, now that we've finished all those surveys, everyone who answered yes, they have a pet, will get a little pet dish in the mail that says, thanks for participating. We'd love to help you however we can. So that's two different touches for me. One, I've said, hey, I'm a real estate agent and I want to know what's important to people when they buy and sell their home. So I felt like that was a really good touch. And then the secondary one to like follow up and say, thank you for being engaged with me. Thank you for helping me out. Can't wait to help you more, right? When your time comes. So,
And then you want me to, maybe you're already doing this, but then using those survey questions to find the solution.
yes.
They're concerned about moving with smells and you're like, hey, did you know there's an ozone?
So I'm gonna make a little packet and put it in with, and then,
And then those can be social media posts even, like you can
yes.
multi-purpose that information from those.
Yeah. See, look at that. See, that's why I'm coming to class, so I can learn it all. Whatever. It's
Hey.
true. Don't whatever.
I love it. Well, she is a lead capturer. You guys heard that. So she's done social media, open houses, door knocking, passing out food at the grocery store. So she knows how to get leads all kinds of different ways. So we'll let you take it away, and Troy will be here at 6:15. I have a different class I'm teaching at 6 though, so hopefully he comes.
As soon as he can turn. Okay. Welcome.
And this is.
That's what it says right here.
And this is their homework that you guys will send. Did anybody know the market stats though? Right. You can tell me how many. Houses are on the market. Are you looking at in Davis
Yeah.
and Weber County, or Davis or Weber County? How many are active right now? Look at your guys.
You can't look it up, huh?
They can. Whoever gets there first. I would
I don't know where to look.
prefer you just know perfect. That's why we do this.
You don't know.
Don't know.
UtahRealestate.com.
No, he knows
I'm on
that.
the- I'm on
He
the
knows
app.
that.
Isn't it on your, you should have it on your front page. Isn't that the way
Your
it
phone?
goes? No, on the.
Oh, I
like,
don't know on the app though.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So you can rearrange your widgets on UtahRealestate.com.
If you do it from like, are you like logging into from Safari or Chrome or something? You can do it from there, but I don't think you can do from that app.
Okay. I'll go back to what I was doing.
Well, the actives are not on the front page. Yeah, the last 30 days,
On Utah Real Estate, on the widget it is.
for the last 30 days, but how many actives are there on the market right now? The widget has new actives.
Oh, I see. Oh, see, it is. So there you go. There's an offer in my inbox.
Woohoo. Weird, she has to double work.
And that one came from,
Ah.
and so I helped them buy the house. And now they're ready to sell the house.
repeat and.
So repeat and referral, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Which
it
is,
comes
which
from
is
everywhere.
maintaining relationships with
Yeah.
your.
Just staying
database.
in touch with them. And can I tell them while they're looking it up, my craziest place?
Yeah,
So I'm getting ready to list a divorce, but it's
Oh.
court appointed. So I've been appointed by the courts to be the agent on that one. So I charged extra, cause they have to use me.
yeah, and honestly, it's, you now know divorces are a lot
It
more
is
work.
more, it is, unless they're selling a really nice house and buying two houses and is completely amicable, that
Mhm.
was probably one of the easiest, aside from COVID was the hard part about that one. but-
Yeah.
Did you guys find the answer?
Hey, what is it?
1660.
Yeah, 1,660 actives in Davis and Beaver right now.
I probably didn't do it the easy way, but yeah.
You probably did. You went to search full and then
Yeah.
Davis Weaver active.
Yeah.
That's the way. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's the way to do it. Okay, I'll go get your prize. So that, I just want you to think too, like, how many of those are yours? Just really, because 1,660 people are listed right now, right? And so there is business out there getting done. For sure. I mean, and I think we have about 100 and something going on the market and or 200 and something going on the market every week, and 100 and something going under contract every week. It's been pretty consistent. You get those in your email from me, the market stats. Do you see those on Monday when I? Oh my God. Coaching, they get those on Mondays. Hey, I'm gonna let Jessica take it.
Hey, you guys tell me if we start going over stuff that we've already done, that you've already done, because I know that there is a lot of repeat stuff and I don't want to just like give information for the sake of it. I want it to be valuable for you. So if you see that I'm doing the same thing again, if you have questions, also stop me and ask. I don't have any problem with questions. That actually makes things go more easily. So you guys have been through generate leads, grow your database, capture leads with open houses and social media. So now we're just going to talk about that there are other ways. What are some of your favorite ways so far? Anyone either here or on Zoom, what are some of your favorite ways so far that you've tried and or like?
The lead gen.
Uh-huh.
I am comfortable with open houses. I'm just getting into videos. I've just begun videos, and that's pretty cool. I just have to practice a little bit more to become really good at it.
So open houses, and what was the second one?
Social media.
Yeah. It takes time. They all take time.
I've been having success just talking to everybody that I have an appointment with for some service that they do for me. So my nail lady, my wax lady, my groomer. I don't know if that's necessarily considered my SOI, but I typically don't have interaction with them other than those appointments.
I would consider it SOI because your sphere of influence, right? So
Yeah.
you're talking to them, so I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. I mean, really, at the end of the day, as soon as you're having conversations, you've captured their contact information. Technically, everyone's your SOI, right? So even my repeat clients are going to be an SOI. It does take a little bit of time to really turn that into true, but I think there's some flexibility in how you're labeling things, right? There's not a right way or a wrong way for that, just what you feel comfortable with. Does that make sense?
So,
Yes, totally.
You've started cold calling. Where are you getting your list to cold call?
Mojo.
Okay, and are they scrubbing the list for you?
Yeah, so I'm doing expires right now. They have for sell by owner, for rep by owners, they have absentee owners, neighborhood searches. So if you're doing an open house, you can call around an address.
Have you done that yet? Like
I've
calling
done
around
that.
for an open house?
I'm going to actually this week. They have open house on Saturday. But I can do some calling and then some just door knocking. I would love to hear more about. Obviously, you've done that and been successful at it.
The door knocking part?
Around
So,
open houses, yeah.
and open houses?
So door knocking around open houses.
Yes, okay. So I did do, so I've done cold calling before, and the fun story about that, it was COVID, so I didn't feel like I could go door knocking, right? So I started doing cold calling, and I was just calling people and saying, hey, I'm your local realtor. Things are crazy right now with COVID. Is there anything I can do to help you? Is there anything I can do to help? Over and over? No. Okay, well, I'll stay in touch. And some people I did, some people I didn't. But one guy, I said, well, is there anything I can do for you? I'll go grocery store, whatever you need. He's like, well, bring me a beer. I said, oh, I can't do beer, but you know something. I took him up like a little 4-pack of root beer, like a fancy root beer with a note on it. Within probably, well, within a year, I won't say an exact amount of time, the wife called me and said, hey, we've got a duplex we need to sell. Will you come be the agent for it? And they picked me over their property manager, who is also a realtor. And then, one of the transactions I just closed was the family trust home for that same lady. So it works. It's just a matter of having that follow-up in place, right? How are you going to stay in touch with them? Door knocking is its own animal.
Yeah.
How deep do you want to go into that? I don't want to waste everyone's time, but
Sure.
not a waste of time. That's
Um,
not the right way to say that.
Yeah, I don't wanna interrupt the lesson, but like, just like, what is the approach that you take when you go up? So I've talked to Dalton, he sent me his script and kind of what he said when he goes. And not Clerk Grove House, I don't know if it's a different approach for you, but he's basically thrown in as a PSA, hey, there's gonna be a lot of traffic in the neighborhood, because we're doing soap house, we're expecting a good turnout. Wanna make sure that, you're aware of this happening, and then having an additional conversation after that.
So he and I are the ones that worked that script out
Okay.
together, because we were the ones that were door knocking together and we
Yeah.
kind of came up with that. I did find that, I keep pushing the button that's not, oh. Oh my goodness. I'm going the wrong way. Allison,
Uh-oh, I'm coming.
I don't know how to go backward. I skipped forward to like 500 pages, like 24 pages. So, the trick for me on that one was, hey, so yeah, it's gonna be busy. We just wanna make sure because we wanna make sure everyone's safe, right? The trick to that is the next statement that you say, and that's a joke. You have to make them laugh. So I say, so who do you know that needs to move into the neighborhood? And you have to make that engagement, that laugh, like you want it to sound natural, right? I said it a gazillion times, but still, like just making them laugh was like, you could just watch the guard come down every single time. So asking that question to
Have you
make
not
things
known
laugh.
that?
We're still at the beginning.
Here,
Yes. Perfect.
this one will go that way. So it's like if you're facing into the screen,
Okay,
it's like, it's gonna go that way and that's gonna go backwards.
I'll just cry again. And like, get lost. The biggest hurdle of door knocking is follow-up. Again, that's the biggest part because you're looking at they're not gonna be right now. The likelihood of finding right now, I mean, we did it for 3 years and I got one seller that was right now business. But not to say I didn't close anything from it. It's just the likelihood of it being right now business is very low. So it's a long game.
Yeah, so the near game is expires and
Mhm.
for self-buy owners. But
Yeah.
I get that.
But and your SOI, it all takes time. It all builds on itself. Did that answer the question though?
Yeah.
Making that joke, like honestly, truly, that's the game.
I've seen that on the cold calls too.
Yeah.
There's an opener that I found is just done really well with getting people down all about me.
Yeah.
And it involves humor.
What do you say?
So you just say, you ask it, say, whatever their name is, hey, Bob, and he says, yeah, this is Jason, you're gonna hate me. I'm the local realtor here. Now, are you gonna hang up now, or do you give me 30 seconds so I can tell you why I called? They'll usually laugh and say, I'll give you 30 seconds.
Cool.
And I've gotten a lot of good conversations out of it, but Dalton's gonna start up the script group again. So I need to go through and work out kind of where these conversations go, where I go with it, because there's several I know I probably could have progressed to getting an appointment with, but I get lost along the way, so I haven't practiced enough. Know what people say to overcome objections. Things like that, so.
And part of it is having the conversation so you can learn what the objections are, so now you can handle them, right? So that's really good that you're making those first steps. It's a challenge and it takes the right thing. I do honestly believe that there's plenty of work to be done. You just have to find a way to do it that you can manage and that you can feel comfortable with. Like, I don't think there's a wrong way to do lead gen. It's what's best works for you.
Yeah. I agree.
So, okay. Look at that. That's exactly what we're talking about. You love people. But at the same time, you haven't learned how to love hunting for them. What does that evoke for you guys? This is the first time I've heard this. I mean, I've read Shift, so I'm sure I've seen it before, but it just didn't register to me or whatever. It didn't land. But apparently someone thinks it's important because they put it in the slide. So what does that evoke for you guys?
I want to take out the word yet. I don't really want to love hunting for them.
Right, you have to reframe the,
So implying that it's a learned process.
Well,
Or
and it's
because you want
implying-
immediate-
It's implying that we are going to learn to love it.
right, and you have to,
and
at some,
resist it,
you have to
that.
be comfortable with doing it, for one. I mean, that's the first hurdle, I think.
Absolutely.
That's a step further, the loving of the hunting.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
For me, I'm like, I didn't love like the hunting part. But now that I'm that's where I would have been resistant is like the hunt. I don't want to hunt people like that's so aggressive. But now it's like, no, wait, it is like, that is what I'm doing. And actually it's kind of fun because it's turned into more of a game for myself. Like, okay, I've met you. Now the job for me is to figure out where you are in your life. How long have you lived in your home? Oh, well, when do you think you're going to move next? Right? Like learning those questions that are just over and over again, the same questions, no matter really honestly, when you're lead genning, it's the same questions you're asking no matter what the circumstances are, because now you're going to start gauging them and now you get to start sorting them. And I like organizing things. So that's a fun game for me is that the hunting part, but anyway, yeah, you'll get there. And it used to be the old slide was, I can't remember what it was, but the point being was you have, not everything is fun. Not everything's easy, but it's not fun, something like that. But I think it is fun if you find what it is that's enjoyable to you to do. So for me, we'll go over a little bit about events in here. That's something new that I'm starting to work up to. If you've ever met Mikhail Hell, who's in the office, he is spectacular at events. The office runs events. You guys heard Allison ask if you're doing the event for the Halloween. As one of the best ways to, I think, because I like doing that kind of stuff. I want to go out and be with people and socialize and have fun, right? So it's another good way. Work the system that works. Your number one job is to find your path, is to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers. So have you guys talked, I know you have talked, you should know, what are some of the ways that you're doing to get in the path? We've heard from you, it's Jason, right? Cold calling, door knocking, what are some other ways that we're getting in the path of people who are motivated buyers and sellers?
I've just been trying to be verbal about real estate and that I'm licensed, both like in person and on social media, just talking about it, not having it be like a secret identity.
You don't want to be the secret agent?
Yes.
That's a big first step. Like that was hard for me at first, like, oh, because then what if I mess up? Everyone's gonna know. You know what I mean? Like it just, you get in your own head. I get it. I'm not saying it's right, but I get it. I understand. So there are two parts of lead generation, the message and the method. We've talked a little bit about the method. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but there's also an important part of it, and that is the message. So we're going to say, if we're cold calling and it's an expired versus a neighborhood, how would that affect what your message looks like? Can you give us an example between the two? I'm just cold calling around a neighborhood because I'm doing an open house versus I'm cold calling, but it's an expired and they've raised their hand to say they're gonna sell.
Right.
It just didn't work out.
So the message with the open house calling in neighborhood is, I'm assuming I would just do the PSA message. Which would lower their guard and have you'd be able to have a longer conversation with them versus the expireds where they're probably getting, especially on the newly expireds, dozens of calls from different agents. The first step in that is getting them to not hang up on you in that first 10 seconds of the call. And then people love to tell their story. So what I'm looking for in that first couple minutes is, so my script right now is, look, I'm not looking to sell your or list your house again right now, but looks like you only listed it for this much. And they'll say, yeah, whatever. You might have asked what happened, and then they'll do their story. That creates a longer conversation,
Mm,
and then from that longer conversation, you know, that's when you're gonna try and overcome objections to set an appointment. So the script that I have, and again, I've not even gotten this far in the script in conversations I've had, because the stories have gone in different directions than I was expecting. But try to get it to the point where you say, well, look, I know I didn't sell this time, and you know, that's difficult. At some point in the future, you're gonna want to listen again. This is what I was thinking. Maybe I come by and give you some new information about maybe why the house didn't sell, or some things that maybe you could do next time in the future when you list again, that would make it a better chance for you to be able to sell the house, and then set the appointment if you can.
good. I noticed that a big part of that was the report. And I think that's true for anyone, right? What is your message so you can make that report? Because it is about now, and one of the slides later says it's not, real estate's a contact sport, right? Was that someone wanted to add? Gidget, did you want to add something?
No, I'm sorry, I was just speaking to my phone.
Okay.
I
What
didn't
about
mute
you
my
guys? We do have a bunch of you online. Does anybody else want to add? What are they using to match the market, match their message with the market?
No, this is Melissa. I've just done door knocking for open houses. And so I've just used those, you know, like it's a great time to pick your new neighbor, or you know, just kind of some of those that you said, like to try and get them to laugh, break the ice a little bit. Most of them don't go anywhere. But I had one just the other day that he's on my radar. He's thinking of selling in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one to put on there, but just had a conversation, like, I don't know who said it, but you know, they like to tell their story, so just ask good questions and get them to engage in conversation.
That's right. And then when you get that information, what do you do with it? Once you hear their story and you understand where they're coming from, what do you do with that information now?
I put it in my notes in my database.
Okay.
And then I can add to the conversation and just kind of engage with them.
And how are you knowing when the next time to engage is?
Oh, just kind of asking, like you know, he told me it's about a year and a half, and I said, hey, I could, you know, this open house, I could send you some information on your value today if you're interested, just out of curiosity. This is where I could use some help too, because I'm super new.
Yeah, no, I like it. So a couple different things I guess you guys are learning. Are you in coaching with Allison? The DTD2?
I do the best that I can. But I haven't really done that a whole lot yet.
So that for me is the main source of my follow-up. Another thing that you could do, because you like a year out is really not that far away, right? Like I would want to make sure, and you guys have talked about, well, and Allison had mentioned too, like the 19 to 8 by 8 and then 19 to connect, that kind of stuff. Have you guys learned anything about that? Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah.
It's familiar to you, Melissa, but it's foreign to everyone in.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else? She said do the 19 to connect, but it's not in my script. So let's go on and see the method. So what are some other ways we've talked about? You guys have talked about prospecting versus marketing in the past, right? You should,
This is my first.
Yeah, we've covered it.
Okay, so will you tell us what the difference between a prospecting and marketing is?
Basically one is more passive, like marketing, whereas prospecting is more putting yourself out there and being more proactive, like chasing those contacts.
Uh-huh. And one takes a little bit more time. Which one do you think takes more time?
Prospecting.
Absolutely. And one of them takes a little bit more money. Which one is the more money one?
Marketing.
That's exactly right. Yep, those are the two biggest indicators. There are three things that you guys should be doing when you meet somebody new. What's number one? What's the first thing you should do when you see somebody?
Smile.
Smile and be approachable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that's one of the things I've noticed. It's been kind of funny because I've been doing Ocean Mart for a while now. And I'm a pretty high energy person. I didn't realize that before, but as people would come in, I'd be running up to hug. And now I say, oh, hey, you want a prize? And then I like step back and start looking at my phone again. Oh my gosh, yeah, come have a treat. And the more laid back I am, it's interesting how now people are starting to come and chase me a little bit. So I think it's interesting to find, like, how do you find that balance? You'll want to find that balance for yourself, right? That you're approaching other people, but you're not being, I have a tendency to be overbearing versus, oh, like, oh, you're just a normal person. You're smiling. You're nice. That's interesting. I'd like to get to know you better, right? What do you think it means to connect? You guys are teaching the class, not me. First, you've approached someone. Hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Hi,
Usually if I can make somebody laugh, I feel like that's a connect.
mm-hmm. That's definitely the rapport. That's for sure. There, can you guys see the picture on Zoom? There's a picture.
For whatever reason, my video isn't working, so I can't see it, so I'm just listening.
Exchange contact information, that's what I think from the picture.
Yeah, the contact information. So connecting is, so what you guys, I guess on Zoom, you guys aren't seeing this, but we have the three, it says we're sharing though. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
it's-
I think it might just be me, because
can
I
see it.
logged. Yeah, I think it's just for some
Okay.
reason my device.
So connecting means that you get their contact information, right? So what are the pieces, the minimum amount of contact information you want from a person?
Phone number, email.
Phone number and email. What's some other pieces that would be very beneficial? And then I
Their
wish
name.
their name is that's a good one. Because I just assumed you get their name, right? So that's exactly right. There's two other pieces that I like to get. I don't always get, but I'm kind of curious if you guys can guess it. I'm thinking of it. Can you read my
Is
mind?
there already a homeowner?
Yep. And what is their address, right?
Yeah,
Or not, they're a homeowner and what the address is. I think those two go hand in hand. Very good. Are you renting or do you currently own, right? So that's kind of goes into step number 3 is to ask. If you don't ask, the answers already no. And that is my motto in all my real estate. That's to myself, that's to my clients. So if we're going into a negotiation, if we don't ask, the answers already no, we might as well ask because it might be yes. I'm going to ask everyone comes into an open house. I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I really enjoyed chatting with you. I'd love to stay in contact with you. That'd be all right. Sure, of course it is. Oh, great. Then that's how I get their contact information usually. But it's I think they're throwing in the ask part, kind of that TCPA compliant way that you now have buy-in. But I think there's also psychologically like I enjoyed you, and then they're thinking, well, of course, because I'm a great person, right? But it's one more piece of that connection, but making that ask for them. And usually I explain to them, okay, and I send out a monthly neighborhood so you can see what's going on in your neighborhood. And then I have a newsletter that goes out once a month. Do you think that's going to be okay? Well, now they're expecting it. So they're seeing, oh, I'm not just like dumping stuff on them. They're like, oh yeah, she said she was going to do this and now she's doing it, right? So I've asked for permission to stay in contact with them. I do that pretty much anywhere. If I do an open house, so this last week I picked up 2 potentials, we'll see. And at the end of them, you know what, I really enjoyed our time together. Love to stay in touch with you. Would that be all right? Yeah, of course it will. Okay, fantastic. I would like to, in one of the cases, like, I'll call and find out about this, about the house, and I'll give you a call back and let you know about it. They wanted to know if there had been a pool in the backyard at one point or something. You know what, I'll figure that out and I'll get back to you. Is tomorrow gonna be okay? Oh, no, we're pre-finishing our bathroom at our current home. Wait and call us next week. So now I call this week, which is tomorrow, and I say, hey, how did the bathroom go? Right? So that's another way to say how can I follow up with what they have? Those two pieces are, how is your project going? And secondly, you had asked about the swimming pool, right? So those are my reasons to follow up. So we've talked a little bit tonight about the CMAs. Let me give you your current value market analysis, but we're going to start exercising our mind into different ways to ask for that next call. Because that's going to be your homework tonight. So AHA is up to this point. Does anybody have any?
I liked how you just talked about, like, you ask if you can be in contact with them. And then you tell them how you're gonna be in contact. It's really intentional. So like, I've only hosted one open house. I feel like I try to do it more sneaky. Like, I wasn't trying to be sneaky, but it was like, sign in. And then I reached out to them instead of just being really upfront about it.
And that's like, for me, honestly, that's just barely a shift that I've been able to make over the last probably year. So it's taken me a long time to finally just get the courage to be like, you know what? Again, if you don't ask, the answer's already no, right?
Yeah.
But if I can find a reason, oh my gosh, what did you think about the open house? Oh, if you could find something different, a different home that had met your needs, what would that look like? Right? The other lady that I'll cut, she wants to be an investor. She's got some money set aside. Oh my gosh, but she wanted to check with her daughter first. Hey, you went to the open house. I met you there. I wanted to let you know that one went under contract, but I'm happy to help you find the next one. What is your search criteria, right? So that would be another reason after an open house to follow up, is to give them new information. Another thing would be it goes under contract and it falls out, because that happens, right? Oh my gosh, you came to that open house. I want you to know it went under contract, but then the buyer backed out and it's available again. You want to go see it again and remember what it looks like? Sign my agreement, right? So we're gonna always be that's what they're trying to get your mindset cranking. Just because you've asked this one question, now we're gonna start being planning and intentional about how we're gonna do that again next. We kind of went through this. Lead generation is a contact sport. See, I told you this was coming in with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing. The other version of this one, lead generation is a contact sport. The more you contact, the more you win, which is, I like, but this is a little bit more clear, but I think it sounds more fun to just win. I like to win. This one goes into, we know average people buy and sell homes every 7 to 10 years. I am going to put my own disclaimer on this one. I think in Utah it's longer than that. On average, but I think our demographic is changing, that it's becoming more in line with this, but I still don't think it's every 7 to 10 years. So that means, again, we're talking long game, right? We've already talked about that with door knocking, especially cold calling. You made a really good, like, the difference between an expired who's ready to go now versus, oh yeah, maybe someday I'll move, right? Or you'll get like the really old people and you're like, so when do you think you'll move next? When I'm dead. I always make the joke, oh, feet first. Okay. Yeah. Right. So there's that likelihood, but we can see that window is 7 to 10 years. And so that's one of the questions I asked. I have been better at asking, and that is, when do you think you'll move next? And there is, if you do with Dalton, I don't know how deep he'll go into the language of sales, but asking that question that way, when is the next time you will move next, is an actual embedded command, which kind of gets them thinking in that way as well. So why do you think it would be important to know when they plan to move next? Yeah. Time frame, exactly. So when do you think it is that you should be contacting them if you know it's every 7 to 10 years and you've met them? Oh, we just moved in. I'll get this a lot in Ogden. Oh, we just moved in 6 months ago. We just bought our house 6 months ago. How should I be in contact with them and how much? Oh, we just bought our house last year. Should I even try or should I just be like, all right, see ya?
You wanna like stay top of mind, like.
Maybe they want investment property now.
Well, do you wanna?
Oh, the man. Yeah. I have a
Just
story.
interrupting.
I have a Troy story.
Oh, gosh. Is it a good story?
Yeah, it is a good story. So can I divert? Is that okay? Because it does have to do with lead generation.
Yeah.
So you were teaching productivity coaching when I first started. And you'll remember this. And he said, call all the people you know. And you asked them. Do you remember the question?
Oh, gosh, I should remember that.
Hey, so who would you use?
Oh,
If
yeah.
you did sell your home, who would you use? So I called a good friend. I walk with her like 3 times a week. 3 times a week, we would go out walking early in the morning. And I thought, oh, she's such a good friend. She'll be a good person to call. And I said, hey, friend, I won't use her name.
Put her on.
Hey, friend. I was challenged by my broker to call all my friends and ask them if they were to move, who would be their agent to move? And she said, oh, anyone but you. And I said, wait, what? Yeah, you're really new in the business and you should just stick with baby houses. And my stomach, yes, the baby houses, my stomach, it just drops. You didn't prepare us for that part. Anyway, I'm like, okay, trying not to cry, right? I hang up the phone. And then I sent her an email. I just said, you know what, that kind of hurt because I had just sold my first listing at that $7.99. I said, you know what, and I've been working really hard. I'm really sad that you wouldn't even consider me, right? But you do what you're gonna do and carry on. Last year she called me and she said, I'm ready. We're gonna sell our house. It's $1 million home. We want you to come list it. So just keeping
Just
that,
the baby house.
it was just a baby house. That's my kind of baby house anyway, right? But I think that goes to that lead generation of you will get rejection. I think that's my biggest fear anyway, is that someone's gonna be like, oh, just stick with baby houses, right? Like you can't just, and I'm like, what do you even mean a baby house? What does that mean? But
Yeah, I mean, I've been in business 20+ years and plenty of people that I thought I was gonna work with maybe didn't ask the question the same way. And there's always some reason maybe why someone wouldn't, but often it's probably because they don't know your value position and they didn't ask more forthright. Who would you use?
yeah,
And if they wouldn't use you, well, then I'd love to learn a little bit more about why. And so nothing will hurt more, I think. I don't know, the baby house thing's gotta sting a little, but nothing will hurt you more than seeing a friend that you walk with every day of the week. And you go to drop them off at their house and they got somebody else's sign.
Yep.
And you're like, wait a minute, because that's happened basically, like, even though exactly that, but I've had friends that I've known and I didn't market them because I just assumed they would call me. I assumed I was going to be their agent. And it wasn't, because I probably didn't ask. They didn't think I wanted or needed the business or whatever the case was. And so anyway.
which goes right back to that same thing, the asking, right? Being intentional and asking for that business. And it was a very, like, I'm making it a sad situation, right? But it was a very valuable lesson that I learned, because then not only was it like, okay, I've got this rejection, but that's still, the answer isn't necessarily no, it's just not yet. And that's a lesson that I've had to learn over time too. So you might say no today, but until you tell me, stop calling me, I'm going to be sending you a text with whatever it is that I'm calling about this next time, right? Till you say, I'm not coming to your activities anymore. You're going to get an activity invite from me. And that it was a very valuable lesson. So I make it a just joke kind of a thing, because it does hurt. And I think you have to have humor around some of that pain, but it makes a difference. But So that conversation really was here, right? When I'm calling and saying, hey, I'm new to the business, who would you use? That's here, because it still took another 3 years until they were ready to sell their home. But if I would have been bitter and just been like, hey, well, don't ever call me again. I'm not, you right?
I've done that too.
Well, yeah, there's been a few people. You get to a point where you get to say, you know what, I don't think we're a good fit. We've talked a little bit about this, the difference between marketing and prospecting. I don't know, they say that prospecting is immediate results. I don't know that that's necessarily true, depending, I'm sure, on the type of prospect
The
that you're
intent of
doing.
the expired is to get an immediate result, to get an appointment, get a listing
Yeah.
that week.
And for sell by owner is like, I'm gonna be there tomorrow to come get you to sign my agreement, right? So I really kind of I'm kind of in this middle ground is where I've ended up. Where I don't like spending a ton of money, but I don't have the time anymore either, right? So you start finding these things, and I think that there's value to the evolution of your own business of like experimenting with things. Have you guys heard of Golden Letters before? No, it's where you send out letters, you pick we'll get to, I'll do that at geofarming. Here's prospecting. So these ones are the ones that are coming in faster. Another thing that Troy taught me, now that you're here, I'm gonna be thinking all the things that you taught me how to do. Only the good things, that's exactly right. Community research, that's one thing that, or outreach, that's one thing that you talked a lot about too, is going out, and you're on the ski team, right? Or on the ski, whatever, on the board of directors. And so he gets a lot of just talking to people that way. So what are some activities or groups that you guys could be working with at this time where you could be having these kind of conversations?
PTA, sports teams. All the
I'm
places-
sorry, I
all the
didn't
places
hear
you
the
said.
question.
Well, you've got all your kids, so like do you go do activities with your kids ever that are like, you could be having conversations with people?
Like taking them to their extracurricular activities.
Exactly, right? And who was it before? I'm sorry, I don't know your name because I can't read it, but you were talking about your groomer.
Yeah, definitely. My groomer and my nail lady and my wax lady and all of those people.
One thing that Dalton did teach me was reverse prospecting. When someone comes door knocking at your house, because we get it all the time at my house. People come knock on the door. I'm like, hey, great. Yeah, you're gonna come give me your pitch. Now it's my turn to give you mine, right? And when are you gonna buy a house next, right? They're already there, so you might as well. You knocked on my door, so now I'm gonna use this time wisely, right? What are some of these other, have you guys tried any of these other things? Meals, I have one client who I take out consistently for lunch. We're gonna have to figure something out, because usually I'll go take him out to go see some properties, because that's just his thing. And then we'll go to lunch, but he has brought me referrals and he's bought with me. And when he's ready to sell, he'll sell with me, right? So what are some of these other things that you guys have thought about doing or want to be doing? We can kind of brainstorm around one of them.
I like number 5. Speaking opportunities. I do a lot of coaching in the investing space. So that's like an area.
So tell us more about that. What would that look like for you?
Well, like right now I coach weekly for people who want to get into real estate investing. That would really be an appropriate place for me to like sell myself as a realtor. But I could offer to teach classes like locally to people.
So I'll point out, I think, is in some of these prospecting circles, for instance, you mentioned the PTA and your soccer team and some of those things. You don't have to really be, you don't have to be going for the close. In fact, it's probably best that you don't. But you're having those forward conversations, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, like you know, you're talking about your kids, and I know your kids, and our kids are great, well, what do you do for work? And it just kind of naturally comes together that you're in real estate. And the same could happen in some of your teaching classes, for instance, you know, if you might not even be teaching on real estate or whatever else, but in the conversation and the post-networking pieces, that's maybe where it kind of comes out as a little drip, and then that's another drip later or two that it starts to come together that, oh yeah, the person has expertise in that area. That makes sense. So you can really softly put it out there. I'm not the hard close salesman, period, so it's just not my nature, but to go for the hard piece anyways, I like to just build relationships first, and then as they understand that this is my expertise, this is something I've been doing a long time, et cetera, then it kind of tends to naturally come together. The Mills one is cool. There's a book called 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer, I think it is. And he has a thing that he talks about with Mills, where he'll pick a specific location, a specific restaurant at a time of day where he actually might meet Jessica for a coffee outing, right? For 30-minute coffee break. And then you leave, Jessica leaves, and then he's got someone else that comes in. You set up 3 or 4 appointments actually at the same location. And what tends to happen in a scenario like that is the waitresses and waiters and the people who are always there as well, they're like, this person must be like a mover and shaker. Who are they meeting with? And you give this continuity. And so you could pick one place per month or something that you meet 3 or 4 people at over an extended period of time, a couple hour span. You have a lunch, you have a dessert, you have a coffee, you have a just whatever, right? And so you can kind of maximize your drive time and begin your exposure to an area just by meeting more than one person at that place. Not necessarily at the same time, but again, back-to-back kind of scenarios. And it does good to create this professional, you got a calendar, they're working on these appointments, and other people in that same space will see that happen. And ideally grab on, what do you do for a living? Who are you meeting there? In real estate, that's what I do.
And I think part of that too was that they were like these people were passing each other too. And so then there was some more influence in that as well, to be like, oh my gosh, you have another appointment coming right after me. Like, so it does something to bolster the already relationship as well. I forgot about that one. Okay, well, we did not even make it halfway through, but Troy's here, so I'll gladly move on to the marketing, more of the spending things, farming. Do you want to just take over? Ask for the referral. We've kind of done a lot of this. We've been kind of doing all of it at the same time.
You do handwritten notes.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So my new notice of disclosure, my first letter that goes out to someone who just barely got their first notice of disclosure is handwritten note. But I also do, my birthday cards aren't handwritten. What's the other one? Mr. Thank You Note. There's a book. There's a book on it that he's like, Mr. Anyway, and that's his big thing, that he sends 5 letters a day.
Yeah, he spoke at some events they had in Salt Lake like
Okay,
a year, 2 years ago.
then we should have you teaching this class. That's awesome. I like it. But yes. Oh, if I do,
I have a sports.
if I do get like a,
I'm going up, you're gonna.
I know, right? If I do get a referral, then I will do a handwritten note with a gift card. Your homework is to find 3 different reasons to stay in touch with somebody. So if you're calling expireds or whatever that looks like, you need to find 3 reasons that you would circle back with that person. I don't know how to make this go away or change it.
Let's see. Can we just keep hitting forward and it'll go to the next piece, I hope, because I'm not very texting.
Look, we did all this so fast. I did
That's
way too much. Well, we've been doing all of it at once. See, now we're to the end. Just kidding. Look, now role play. Celebrate everyone. That's it. Yeah, we should be moving to section 10. Do you want me to go? Well, Allison said she had something else. Or I can. You can start talking. Do you already know what you're talking about?
Yeah, if maybe I'll just do an intro.
Yeah, and introduce yourself. That's a good idea.
So, hello, what's your name?
Caitlin.
Caitlin, nice to meet you. I'm Troy Callentine. Who do we have online? We have Melissa. And 3 others. Online, you guys want to introduce yourself for me real quick?
I'm Bridget. I'm brand
Bri-
new baby agent.
Baby agent, all right, baby agent selling baby houses.
Hopefully not. Hopefully
Hopefully
big girl houses.
Worry about baby houses are great, and I'll tell you why if we get to that piece. Okay, and then we've got Gidget, it looks like, and Kyson. Excuse me. Well, very nice to meet everybody. Again, I'm Troy. I have been here at Keller for, what year is it? I don't know, a little while, 8, 9 years or something. I was a principal broker for this specific office for 3 years, and then a branch broker for another couple. So been in the management role for quite a bit, but have been in real estate since 04. And my path to real estate is a little bit different than a lot of others. I was in new construction as a supervisor and doing warranty work and a bunch of other stuff, and kind of got forced into sales, to be honest with you. So in 07, 08, I was licensed prior, but in 07, 08, the market crashed, and I was working with a builder that I was managing a sales force, a team of agents that were selling the new properties, and they kind of all quit because we didn't have enough product to sell and they weren't selling them fast enough. So I absorbed the sales duties and never wanted to. I always thought it just seemed really hard and horrible and not my jam. But it became the best blessing I think that I've ever kind of encountered. I was always good with people, I felt like, and had relationships built and things, but it was on a different kind of level where again, I was doing the supervisory construction stuff. And so what I learned when I learned how to be a realtor, I guess I would say, was actually later in my career. I'd already sold dozens of houses, but the majority of them were brand new. And what I mean by that is I didn't initially have to prospect for business. I had a subdivision that was kind of ingrained, just it was part of my business. I listed somewhere between 4 and 10 houses kind of at a time and lots at a time. I'd help procure land and develop it and get the builder plugged into it. So it was I had a much different model of business than most realtors walk into. And which again, initially was a blessing, but then the builder business, they went away. They're a philanthropist of sorts, the people who were backing the business, and they decided to move their money to a different venture altogether. So we kind of wound down the business of building homes together. And it put me in a position to where I had to find business. Had to get into real estate and actually do some door knocking and reach out to my SOI and all those things. So I came at it quite a bit different than again, I guess most agents do, but I fell forward, I think pretty decent, and I have a fair track record now. Again, I guess just my perspective on how and why I do real estate is just sort of shaped by that experience. So when I worked for the builder, the biggest thing I learned there was, even though I had listings in front of me and this opportunity that was, I don't want to say it was gimme business because I earned the business initially, but people would walk in and they'd want a house and they had a budget and we'd work through it and we'd build it and customize it. It was pretty sweet. But what I learned is that the relationship that I built along the way really impacted the success of the transaction. So initially when people would walk in my model home, I would ask, well, do you want a 3 or a 4 bedroom house? 3-car garage or 2-car garage? Rambler or 2-story? What kind of lot? Big lot, small lot, right? Those were the kinds of questions. And I learned pretty quick that that was not really the best approach. And the best approach really was, I apologize, what was your name again? Caitlin. Caitlin, so great to meet you. We're in my model home, right? We're kind of role playing here of sorts. And my conversation would be more or less in that Ford category where I would ask about your family. Well, tell me about your family. These your kids here? Oh, great. You know, what do you guys like to do for fun? You play soccer, you like to ride bikes, you know, we'd have this like kind of genuine conversation. I wouldn't even be talking about real estate for a good portion of the conversation. And typically they would either start to ask direct questions about the real estate, or we just get in this flowy conversation where we were talking about things that matter to them. And I was listening in a manner that gave me reasons to follow up later, as well as to map a product to what their lifestyle and their family was. So the more I understood Caitlin and her family, the better I could say, Caitlin needs a Rambler with a basement unfinished and 3-car garage, and here's why. you know, you've got this situation going on, this is where we're at, maybe you might want a mother-in-law apartment, because you mentioned your mother-in-law is gonna be moving back in with you, and so I wanna find a Rambler that's got a walkout basement, but maybe it's unfinished because it's in the future, and so all those types of things.
She thinks gravel is moving now.
The face of, oh my gosh, gravel's not moving as far as I know. But if you get what I'm saying, it makes a big difference when you pre-qualify a buyer and you get a prospect in your system and you want to keep them there. So that's what we're gonna be talking about next, I believe, is retaining your prospects and your client, your leads as they come in the door. So we've got Tech Jessica working on that.
I am just pushing buttons until we have a whole new language we get to learn.
Wow.
10, keep every lead, right?
There you go. Keep every lead. Sleep.
Let's hope this is the right one. I don't think that doesn't look right, does it?
It's not, but it's market over.
I have a book on
It's
my
weird, though.
computer.
Cause it says this,
Oh, I think you might have clicked on this one. Let's click that again. Oh, there was one. Oh, don't click that. Look back here. And then click open Google Doc, I guess. And we'll open with Google arrow. Let's see. Go back to the doc. Nobody can get it, it's just in that word format.
so slides. We need the slides.
Slides. Bear with us while we look for the slide.
No, I didn't stop, so that's the only
And you'll
one.
see that down the hall.
And connect Martin.
Yeah.
That's
We
only,
can teach office, but.
that's not even the right one. No, this is the ours, not the class. But we're close. Number 10. Copy toolkit. Follow up, number 10.
This one.
Yep, yay, and it's got hidden slides. Yes, but they're hidden, so that's great. Yeah.
Oh,
And then here, and then you can make it big.
or I can mess it all up.
No. Do not. mess
So-
it up. But now I know how to find it, so
So I'm gonna go, how do I make this like the?
that's what I was wondering. Isn't there like a present? Click slideshow,
Slideshow.
there it is.
All right, Zoom land, here we go, high five, Jessica
We
gets
did it.
bonus.
We did it
Um,
together.
Okay, so I'm gonna speak quick, I am gonna follow the agenda a bit, but we'll definitely go down some rabbit holes that you'll wish you never went down, probably. Today, though, we're gonna talk about lead follow-up. Keeping every lead, following up with leads, strengthening relationships, and then qualifying potential buyers and sellers. So, what is lead follow-up? And then how to do it, post-lead follow-up, and then we'll talk about some recaps and offers. Sound good? All right, bring it on, she says. So the life of a lead, just went over this chart a little bit, right? But people are gonna move every 7 to 10 years. So depending on where your client sits, where this lead sits, is all gonna come out in that original conversation. Maybe, if you ask the right questions and you build the right relationship, right? So it is important to understand where they're at in that life cycle and how to determine where they're at in that life cycle. In my opinion, doesn't come in the question of, so Caitlin, are you looking to move in the next 90 days? It might, because you might say, yeah, that's why I came in your model home, dummy, right? But it's gonna be much more genuine and connected if it comes out through a more genuine conversation, one that's connected to real life situations that's going on in your life and things that you can relate to in different ways. You're gonna better understand where they're at in that cycle. When did they move last? Those types of questions. So, so lead follow-up, a framework. You've got your possible business on the left, move them into probable business and then into profitable business. So this is the whole goal. Find as much probable business as you can so that you can move it into the probable category. And we'll talk about how to do that and then into profitable. And online, if you guys have questions, definitely follow up. I hope I can hear you. I think I should be able to. So if you're first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. I love that Jessica shared that story about her asking her friend, because even though her friend and her walked all the time, it's possible she wasn't top of mind in the first two categories, first two people as far as an agent goes. She might have a cousin and another friend that are realtors, and she's number 3. But if 1 and 2, the cousin and the other friend, don't ask for the business and Jessica does, guess who slips into number 1 and 2, right? So you got to ask those questions. We're already to ahas. What do you think? So that starts us out on this this path, though. We're going to talk a little bit about how to lead follow-up. You've got your leads, 19 to connect. Have you guys heard of 19 to connect yet?
Oh, Alice mentioned we were gonna talk.
So it's a great concept. And I do recommend that you can modify this to your liking a little bit, but the goal is to be in that 19 points to connect with your lead. So you get a lead that comes in. A lead is not necessarily even a referral. A referral is, hey, you know, I know you, Caitlin, we work together. Hey, I have a friend who wants to buy or sell their house. Here's a, you know, that's a referral. I think they've already kind of moved into a new relationship. So the 19 Connect is people that have just landed in your database through your digital online ads, through an open house, through your phone database. Like, just, they're nowhere yet, right? They're just contacts that you have. They don't know you're in real estate or anything else. What we would definitely recommend is 4 touches with a quarterly phone call. In Command, it's super easy to set these people up on a campaign that reminds you every quarter, so every 90 days, to call and or text however you want to deliver the message. I prefer the phone call because it's easier to track, it's easier to gauge in a more meaningful conversation. I'll post Command as we go. If you haven't dug into it yet, there's great features in there on your phone and on the computer. So if you set these campaigns up in your phone or in Command, it'll show up on your phone. You can open Command on the app on your phone. And that day, if there's a quarterly call plan client that's due, a task that's due, it'll show up and you can click their name. You can click call them right from the thing. You don't have to dial their number or anything. It just calls them if their number's in the command, and then you call them. And then when you're done, you can hit the note section. They answered, we talked about this, that, and the other, and then you can save it, right? So definitely do it inside a Command. If you're here, you have the technology, just embrace it and use it if you can. 12 touches through a monthly email, newsletter, market report, video. I would recommend mixing those up a little bit, maybe, right? Maybe you do a quarterly email that's instead of a monthly email, you do a newsletter that's in between those months, and then you do a market report that's quarterly as well. Then you're picking up something every month, right? So you don't have to do all of these every month. You should just do at least one a month. That's some kind of somewhat passive contact. It's value add though. It's a video of you walking through a new subdivision out in Syracuse, releasing that out to your client database. It's inside your newsletter, an advertisement for your new class that you're going to teach on investing in real estate or whatever it might be. So 2 touches, a promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, a calendar, printed market report, etc. Don't forget how powerful these pieces can be. It's a bit of a pain sometimes, so like put it in the calendar to get it done. I use little to-do pads, so they're literally those little magnet things that you can stick on the fridge, right? On a magnetic fridge, if you have a steel fridge anymore. A lot of people don't. And I've sold homes from it, for sure. I know the people, I can list them off right now, not dozens of homes, but at least I think 5 different houses I've sold from my silly little to-do pads that I've either mailed and or I've had at other promotional ways that I get in touch with. And you know, inside that, it could be you could have a printed newsletter that gets shipped out with it. So how you get it in their hands is up to you. But I do think direct mail is great. You send it right to them, it gets to their house, they see it, a handwritten card or a pre-produced card, depending on who it is. And it might even be segmented out on this piece here. Your touches could be your A clients, your A and A plus clients, which we'll talk about how I like to categorize them in a little bit. Those might include the handwritten letter, the handwritten note. Thank you so much. It's great seeing you, whatever it is. And then the rest of them could just be prepackaged, printed built thing with your name and face, and it's more commercialized, if that makes sense. And then One Touch, an annual event, party, movie screening, get together of some sort. The office does these for you. You just can engage the pumpkin punch. The pumpkin patch is coming up soon. Easy to engage in. It looks amazing, especially if you're a new agent, because they're gonna show up for this event. There's gonna be hundreds of other people there. You're part of a bigger thing. You're part of a big team. You're part of a big environment that's, that's really awesome. And for you to put one of those on yourself can easily add up to a couple $1,000s or more. Like the baseline is 1,500, $2,000 probably to throw a really decent SOI party. When you spread that love around to the whole office, it's per ticket, right? You can just say, I'm gonna pay for $800 worth of tickets for my clients that I'm gonna invite. And you set it up so that you're not invested $2,000, you're invested in a smaller level, but you get the benefit of the whole. So definitely do those. And I've missed plenty that I wish I would have engaged in. So one, to cement a high value touch that solidifies the relationship you have just established and opens the door for future interactions. So that one in particular is that face-to-face piece. It's going to be when you meet them at this here and you follow up with a post event walk or stop by, that type of stuff is where you're going to really want to have the one to cement. Then your contacts, so to convert contacts to further engage with you, this is the 36 convert, 4 touches, so quarterly telephone calls, or sorry, this is your year plan, and then this is right out the gate. So you get a new contact, you want to turn them into a lead, you start with four calls, right? You might call them Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and again Saturday, until you get hold of them. Like just you call until you get hold of them, at least the 4 times. Then you start setting them up on the 26 touch bi-weekly email plan. So every other week they're getting listings for the area that maybe they expressed interest in. They're getting some kind of value there. Usually that's what this is going to be, right? Somebody stops by an open house in Roy and the home's priced at 300. They don't buy that day. Hopefully you capture enough information to set them up on a drip campaign for homes in Roy from 250 to 350, or that's kind of a hard price point, 300 to 400, in the area that you are doing the open house, right? And then you're going to invite them to your events, get together with parties, and then 4 touches here. So each year. So the couple of different ways to go about it, but that's there. Oh, and then I could just do that. So when you're thinking about what is your lead follow-up best practice, you really need to know who you are. What are your strengths when working with people? And how can you adapt the touches of 19 to connect to represent you, right? So just because Jessica does it one way doesn't mean that has to be your way. Again, I'm not the guy. I'm not very pushy. I don't go for the hard close. I'm more of a relationship component piece. I like to try to add value through conversation and through my other deliveries and let them decide up to me. I could probably do more business, I bet, if I was a little more, I would say maybe you call it aggressive, right? Or more that A-type personality where I'm going to ask more pointed questions, but I do it differently. So you got to know who you are and what you're most comfortable with and what is really you. Because again, people that know me, for instance, in my SOI, my current sphere, if I call them and I start a more aggressive sales pitch, they're gonna be like, "Who are you? This isn't the Troy I know." But if I call and have my genuine conversations and we really do connect on that personal level, I'm gonna have a lot better success finding out where they're at in the home buying cycle. Are they at the bottom or the top of the trough or somewhere in the middle? And then I can ask procuring questions and give them value add pieces that lead them to the pinnacle of that, right? If they're a little bit shy of being at the time to sell, but I think really they probably should sell now, I might be able to give them value and information about the market that lets them understand that now actually is a great time for them to sell and buy because of where interest rates sit for them, or because of the inventory in the area that they want to potentially move to, or whatever it is. So what are some reasons you might have for contacting a lead? What are some touches to do before and after a phone call? So there's always reasons to contact a lead. One of the fears I hear a lot is people are in the business. A couple things: you're new in the business. You got friends from like college, high school, 5, 10 years ago, that you haven't talked to in 5 or 10 years, and you're like, gosh, I don't want to call them out of the blue, that's weird. Especially to tell them I'm now in real estate and it's selfish and I just want to sell them the house and I'm just greedy. Right? Because that's the fear, right? I haven't talked to this person in 10 years, what am I gonna say to them? Just say, man, I'm so sorry, I haven't followed up in the last 10 years, it's crazy, I was in a neighborhood that just reminded me of you, or I went by Lagoon, and I remember that time when we went together back, and I just wanted to call and check in, say, how's it going? Right? How's your family? Great. You have kids these days? I've got 2 kids myself. Right? Well, what are you doing for work? Oh, you work out at Thiokol. That's awesome. Or is the Thiokol exist? It still exists, right? But I work at Smith's, or they work at Smith's, right? And what are they going to ask you? What do you do for? Oh, it's funny you ask. I just started at Keller Williams as a real estate agent, right? Or I just started. I'm a real estate agent at Keller Williams, part of a great team. It's amazing. I love doing what I do. If you ever knew anyone looking to buy or sell, I'd love to chat with you more about what I can offer. Right? What do you got plans for the summer? You move off of it. You don't sit and dive into it necessarily, unless that's your personality. What do you like to do for fun? Great. Do you still like to go forward? Do you like to ski? Do you know, whatever their thing is, engage with them on that level and have it be a two-way conversation, right? Now that's people that are in your database or in your phone, SOI, that are friends, family, people you actually know. There might be people that you don't know. Somebody comes by the open house. Well, what's the reason to call? Did you like the open house? Have you guys decided to buy or sell yet? I noticed you mentioned you hadn't pre-qualified with a lender. I have a great lender I'd love to introduce you to. Would you be interested in me getting you guys together to find out if you qualify for a mortgage to get you in the house that you're in love with? Right? There's a bajillion reasons to call and understand what that reason is. So what are some touches to do before and after a call? Again, it varies based on who you're trying to call. If it's an open house lead and you've got all their info, you could easily send them a quick thank you. Thanks for stopping by the open house. I hope you found the information you were looking for. I'd love to follow up later. That's it. You could send them a text or an email if you only got their text and or their email to the same effect. Then you call them. Hey, I was wondering if you got my text about the open house that you came to. Did you find everything you were looking for? Did you get the answers to the questions you might have had? Did you get connected with the lender? You need to know who you're talking to. You need to know the evidence. How am I using conversations to let the person know I am in real estate, how to contact me, and how to refer business to me? So again, this depends. I've had agents in our office that legit were like cold call lists, and they would call and just say, are you looking to buy or sell your house in the next, or you're looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 90 days or 60 days, I think it was. No? Okay, bam, done. That was the call, right? You can go as hard and just like as crazy as that as you can. Or again, that Ford script or the frog script, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, or family, recreation, occupation, goals, however you want to put it. Genuine conversation connection pieces with people that you kind of already know a little bit about is how you can start to let them know you're in real estate. You can be a little more passive in that conversation, but you can also say, be more direct. Hey, Caitlin, I know you guys live out in Clearfield. I was out there the other day and I was curious. I saw a home a few blocks away from where you guys live. I was just wondering, would you be interested in getting a market valuation or market estimate on your home, market analysis on your home? I don't charge anything, it's free of charge. There's no obligation to use me or anything, but I'd love to be able to put that together and deliver it to you, just in case you were wondering what your house is worth. If you go on Zillow or Zestimate or get your tax notice, it's usually not that accurate. So I would be glad to do the additional work it takes to get you a more accurate analysis and deliver that to you. Could I pop by next Wednesday or Friday? Wednesday at 1 or Friday at 4? Right, give them some options. Yes. Where's everyone else? Well, there's some people online, as far as I know.
Do you know what?
What's it?
He doesn't know which is the part.
I don't. You'll find out though.
I think someone gave.
What am I doing here? Okay, so there's a lot of reasons and ways to let someone know you're in real estate. It doesn't have to be, just wearing a badge and saying, hey, I'm in real estate and I'd like to sell you a house. It can be through value add. In fact, I think the preferred way that most people would want to get engaged with you on the real estate level is through that value add. You have some expertise in investing in real estate, but some knowledge around what it takes to do it. Have you ever thought about buying or buying an investment property in real estate? There's some really great opportunities right now, and let me tell you what, right? Or I think there's some really great windows opening up soon. Or I saw a short sale around the corner from the place that you live, and it might be a really great value if you ever consider owning a rental property, right? Bring your expertise to the conversation and just ask. So you gotta know who you are and how you like to deliver yourself. You should be genuine and if, especially if it's someone you already know, you wanna be true to who you are because they'll see right through it if you're not. And even if they don't know you, they'll still kind of see through it if it's not you because you'll stutter and you won't have be very well practiced in how you deliver that. But if you come across basically, you know, who you are and how you normally talk, and you just happen to be integrating some exciting new things in your life, then you'll get some traction. When is it best for me and my business to time block for lead follow-up? So again, the best time for you is when you can do it. In my opinion, the first answer to me is that's the best when you can do it, when you can commit to it, and when you can know you can do it regularly, right? So there's a lot of philosophies and theories about first thing in the morning or in the afternoon or after 4 or after 5, or sometime around lunch. Like people have their thing, and I would argue that if your database is big enough, there's going to be a variety of those people that like to be called at different times anyways. And so you might want even 1 or 2 different times to follow up, and do it because you're going to find success with different groups of your clientele at different areas. How much time should it take to reach out to a lead, and what will I do to hold myself accountable? What do I need to make sure this happens? So I think in your goal setting, you want to know, like, if I want to make 150,000, how many calls is it going to take? Know it, back it up, and put it on your calendar in a time block way. How long it takes you to reach out to a lead, again, it's kind of up to you and how much you dive into the conversation in the chat. I'm a bit long-winded, so when I get on the phone with someone, I know I'm not probably going to get the rest of my calls, but I know if I had a good conversation, it's worth making sure that happens. So activity, design your annual 19 to contact touch plan. So the calls are basically free, right? You have your phone already. So what does your phone plan cost you for the year? You can put that in. 12 email newsletters, market report video. If you're going to send a birthday card, some market reports, more informative videos, and then, these things, what may it cost you to send the card, and these different components, right? Just understand what that costs you. And typically it's going to be per mailing. So you're going to have an idea, and then it might scale the bigger your database grows, right? You might get better price per person if you're sending out birthday cards through a system, that type of thing. Promotional direct mail, local sports team schedule, annual calendar. So again, these are great things, the Weber State calendar, or, something that's maybe specific to your database that they might be interested in, or something you have a passionate in that they would easily connect you to. So there's that. And then you do an event to organize a neighborhood cleanup, organize a yard sale. You could do, there's a lot of different events that you could do. Those are great, again, because you can do it without even wearing your real estate hat and just say, I'm just doing good for the community. I'd love everybody to show up and rally the troops in the conversation. It comes out, it just becomes the thing, right? You might wear your Keller Williams shirt or a badge or your name badge that day. Or you take a phone call, coincidentally, right? You're talking about real estate in front of some other people that are around you. So, so I've mentioned value a few times. You definitely want to know what your value proposition is, and then have personal communication and know your statistics and data. So these are all things that are going to have maximum impact with your clients. So you want to know why, Caitlin, like, what is it that you bring to the table for your clientele? Is it specially customized services, your investment, real estate expertise? What is it that you want to have, and have that elevator pitch of sorts crafted so that when you talk to someone, you can either verbatim roll it off or ad lib what your value prop is. Personal communication, again, I think that's where, to me, it comes back to that relationship piece. Even those leads that are just sort of dry leads that hit your database, you want to be able to have personal communication with them that makes sense and that they can relate to, and they can understand that you are a person as well, and not just a robot on the other side of a phone. And then statistics and data, I'd like to say the easy part, but it takes a while to understand it and get a good visual on it. But dig into the tools the MLS has, take as many evaluation classes as you can, take as many compliance classes and all that stuff as well, but understand the statistics and data. Try not to stray way outside of a space that you're really comfortable with, right? Like, it's exciting, for instance, to maybe list a $10 million house in Park City, but if you've never sold a $10 million house or even a $2 million house, it's a bad idea. it's a bad idea. It sounds like amazing commission, and it probably would be, but if you don't know the statistics and the data and the process to do it, like, you just need to either partner or refer those businesses out. So if your focus or your expertise lies in the Davis County region, you know, under 700,000, that's perfect. Like, own that data, own those statistics, and know some of those people will move up into that next neighborhood where you really do want to sell, and you'll slowly gain experience in the next space. So potential lead sources, you got people who might call in, a community event, an open house, social media marketing, traditional marketing, your agent website calls out. Why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more. What will that do for you and your family? Right. So in those conversations, when they come up, you can ask these probing questions. Past client purchase, leads, client referral, sign call in. So you have a sign on a yard for a listing, get people to call in, a blog, newsletter. There's a lot of other ways that you can get leads into your pipeline. And again, I would argue that the follow-up is the key. A lead's not worth anything if you can't follow up. A lead's not worth anything if you can't contact them and have a plan, the 19 to connect or whatever plan you put together to push it forward to the next level, right? So don't go spend money on a community event that you're not going to then embrace the contacts further from there. So, again, I speak fast and mostly to keep us on track and time, but does anybody have questions? Okay. Post lead follow-up. So I assume you've all seen this grid on the right or the chart on the right or some version of it. So when two-way communication is established, a lead becomes a contact. Right. So a lead is initially, let's just say you run a Facebook ad. So in Command is super easy to run a Facebook ad. It can be for your new investment seminar. You can contact an agent in the office that has a listing and promote that listing to an area. And then people will ping the Facebook ad goes out and people will ping it and you'll get their name and email at the very least. A lot of them will have name, phone number, and email. And so you get those three things. Well, that's just a lead. Becomes a contact when you call them. And you say, hi, this is Caitlin. Is this Joe? Cool. You call on the listing or you inquired about the listing on Center Street in Provo. You know, whatever street, that's now now it's a contact. So now you want to move the person from 19 to connect to 36 to convert. So the initial piece is they come in as a lead you've never contacted and connected with. You want to convert them to someone that you have then connected with. That's where you're going to find out pieces like what kind of property they're interested in and where, what is their budget, what's their family like, what are their extracurricular recreational interests. So you can really best package and help them find a property that makes most sense for them. Where do they work? How far away from this? You know, do they want to be closer? Or they want to have the rural living, all those types of things. And then you want to cement the relationship over time. So your database, you're going to capture those leads. You're going to turn the leads into contacts. So you strengthen the relationship. You convert or cultivate these contacts for conversion and needs-based offerings. Again, so you're going to find out what are their needs, what are they looking for, and then drive through to get them into a sell. Now down here, this is the client referral loop is the absolute part. You can't forget where they become a client and they give you referrals and they repeat and buy. So you'll hear agents talk about this, that they've been in business long enough now that they don't even really market anymore. It's their constant communication right there. The 36 touch throughout the year that they're just constantly talking to their community through the database, either through quarterly phone calls and a combination of other value adds like a newsletter, like all those different things, the two-a-year SOI events and those things. And the people just naturally come to them. So when I say they don't market, I don't mean that they don't do anything, but they stay in touch with their clients in a way that they said they had a great experience and now they'll come back and refer them. And when someone else asks the question that Jessica asked her friend, hey, if you were to buy or sell a house today, who would you use? Your clients will have people out there that are saying, I'm thinking about buying or selling a house. Does anyone have good experience with a real estate agent I can call? Or they're just thinking about buying or selling. And Caitlin's a raving fan of Troy because we did such a great job on helping you buy your house that you're like, dude, you got to call Troy Because he's your guy, he's my guy, and you're gonna take care, he's gonna take care of you, right? You want that experience to be memorable and lasting, but also be top of mind post-closing. So those are, when you get to the post-closing piece, like, own it, man, I tell you, just like, make sure you're handling that piece away. So, so a high value touch that solidifies the relationship you have just established and opens the door for future interactions. Any ahas? 7 o'clock, how late do we go tonight, you know? Should look, it's probably on my calendar, let me look and see. Mostly want to pace myself, one, again, I talk fast, so slow me down if needed, but there is a lot of material to get through, so let me make sure. This looks like I have it till 7:30, so. I'm gonna take a short restroom break up.
Okay.
Hey, you guys are my new realtors. Okay, I'm back. Apologize for the interruption.
Oh my goodness. What's happening to you? Where's the back kid? The bathroom. Put him off. Put him to the soap first. Here's the soap. The soap. There's the soap.
Okay, so. Sorry about that. I came from one thing to the next and I'm right here, like, no breaks. So ahas, has your thinking changed that idea at all? And is there any ideas or mindsets that were new to you? Actually wonder if we. Is there anyone out there on Zoom? I think we might have lost our Zoom people.
I'm still here. I stayed through the bathroom break.
Yes.
I'm here also.
You feel differently about anything?
Are there snacks?
I don't have any snacks.
I am feeling a bit different.
What, you had a snack box there, what was in there? A little Jamba Juice and.
I'm here too.
I didn't eat dinner yet either. We should go eat something. You guys will meet at the pizza place, the Pizza Pie Cafe?
Yeah.
Love that place. Did you guys hear there's a new Chuck E. Cheese opening up in Riverdale? Oh, yeah, you're gonna find out someday.
We don't really go to restaurants that often.
I try not to too. They don't serve very good food, honestly. It makes you unhealthy in most places around town.
It's basically just more about.
Yeah. So, do you have any behaviors that might be different going forward? And then what actions will you take? And then what tools, models, or systems will you use? And how will they make you accountable? So those are all things to think through. Caitlin, have you taken any command technology class yet?
I did a couple with Nicole.
Okay,
She was still here,
great.
one-on-one.
Oh, good. Yeah, the one-on-one's awesome. So what I would say is often we get agents will come in and they'll want to spend all their time learning the tech and forgetting to do lead gen and lead follow-up. So focus on that first, get the lead and have the problem of, okay, now how am I going to track them? How am I going to deal with it? Force yourself to put them into command and set them up on those plans. Super customizable, but just don't overthink it, right? Do the quarterly call plan, put them on a monthly newsletter, and or a,
Did they just leave when you came?
oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The neighborhood watch or the neighborhood reports, right? So you can set them up on those things. So make sure that that stuff at the very least is in play. And then you've added a couple of tags on, how do you know them? What type of quality, what type of referral or lead are they? What kind of type of contact are they inside your SOI? So the success isn't 10 conversations, 10 contacts added, 10 handwritten notes, then the 10-5-1, and then enrichment. So are you working through the data success system at all? Have you been able to calendar that out?
I am not.
Okay. So again, I think, some other coaches may smack me on the upside the head by saying this, but if 10 conversations, if these numbers aren't achievable based on your schedule, right, I'd say change it. Again, to me, the best lead, the best lead follow-up plan is the one that you can actually integrate, that you can actually do. So the best time to call your leads and do lead gen and lead follow-up is when you can. Like, when does your calendar allow it? Put it in that way. So if you can only do 5 conversations a day, 5 new ones and 5 contacts added, and 5 handwritten notes, then that's fine. Or each week, this is weekly. So, adjust it for what works for you if you have to. But the actions are what's most important, right? By taking some or all those actions, you'll move into a good space. Always be mindful of the TCPA, the Consumer Protection Act. Now, if a lead contacts you through your website or social media or something, you have permission to reach out to them. If they then ask to be put on a do not call or whatever this thing, strike them out, right? So I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. I had no idea that was going to be up there. Honestly, I didn't. But it's very true, right? If I engage in every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in the relationship. So what I look at that to be is contribution, spirit of contribution, right? It doesn't have to be specific to real estate. I'll use an example of, again, it is let's call it a random role play of sorts. Caitlin, you and I are talking, I'm kind of rolling through this script of just getting to know you. And in the conversation, you mentioned that you really like to, let's say, you like to recreate at, or like you like to go to music festivals. Let's call it. Now I could put a note in my system and in my brain and everywhere that you like to go to music festivals. Bluegrass music festivals. But now I have another reason to follow up and call you and contact you. Right? And I can bring value to you by saying, Caitlin, it's not a music festival, but I heard about a really great bluegrass band that's playing at Snow Base on Saturday. It's 1 to 4. It's super cheap. It's only $10. Plus they have food, and it's a German beer fest all day. And it really just sounds like fun. I don't know if you're available to go. I actually can't go, but I saw this and I just want to make sure that you knew about it if you hadn't heard about it. Right? A little value add for you. Nothing to do with real estate. Who cares? Because now I'm a little further up in your mind of a contact, somebody who cares about you, well beyond just your real estate purchase with me. That's going to be a commission. Right? So I'm adding value. Now, do I want every conversation to be in that direction? Not necessarily, because at some point I do want to say, Caitlin, I found a house that's right next to this bluegrass festival that happens every year. Let's, whatever, that's a lame analogy, but I want to take the other components of our conversations that happen naturally and find you the house that works for you, find you the good reason to sell your current house, or find the reason to turn your current house into an investment and take that money through a refinance and buy another primary and get the income from this one to now be in this one that you really love. right? Whatever the combination that makes sense for Caitlin is what I'm ultimately trying to achieve along the way. And our kids like to play soccer. Hey, I got some free Real tickets. Do you want those tickets? I'm gonna pay $10 for them. Or I got, right, things like that will make a huge difference in your database as you're moving people from a lead to a contact to an actual piece of business. And people love to have that piece of information. I can't remember what it's called, and I honestly don't use it enough, but there's a search tool inside of Google that you could set up that might actually say like bluegrass festivals, bluegrass music festivals, and it will send you a notification anytime there's a news article or something about that. You can actually type in Caitlin, you can type in your name in there, and it will populate anytime that you hit the news or anything else, and then you can like reciprocate with like, hey, I got a link to this really cool article. I was just randomly came across this today, and I happen to have this little bit of information that's important. Right, so you can find ways to research and follow back up with your clients or your people. And it doesn't always have to be real estate. It'll go a long ways. We can role play if you want. Or not. I don't know. What do you do? Is there a scenario that you feel like you're like, I wish I could walk through this with somebody? Like I like there's a piece of my business that I'd like to sharpen, and
I do have a client right now who likes archery and would love to buy a house where he can do archery in the backyard.
Okay.
I don't even know the rules for the city or the county or which one. has
Yeah,
the rules.
I have no idea either. So dig into it, right? Spend 30 minutes and dig into it. Don't spend 2 hours. Just spend 30 minutes and dig into it. Find out a few things like what, somebody who's in, is it a competitive archer or like just likes to shoot for
Just like
hunting?
hobby.
The hobby thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, find out, just start getting into archery stuff. I know a little bit more of what's in the area for archery. What are there groups? Are there other things out there that that you could get a little bit insight, and one, just become more well versed on what it means to be into archery, right? Have a little additional common talking point. Even if you're like, I don't know anything about archery, but I did hear that the quivers like this are really great, and something like that, right? And so that could be an option, and then you could randomly be able to maybe find a house that's got a long, deep backyard that's wooded or trees, or it's got a big rock wall, and you could say, hey, I know this is a shot in the dark, no pun with the archery, but man, this yard's 300 feet deep. And I know that most archers like to target practice at 200 feet. So man, this would be really cool. You could think how cool this would be. You could set up like an archery backdrop, like integrated into your landscaping. I know you're probably not going to buy this house or anything, but I just thought I'd show it to you because who knows, right? You never know. Package that with the other things you know about the client, his family size, his income, those things. You don't want to send him a $900,000 house with this cool archery backdrop, and he's like, but Caitlin, I can only afford $450,
Yeah.
right? So if you can match it together, right? And maybe you do send him a $900,000 house and be like, look, this is way out of both of our league, but man, how cool would this be? Right? Find a reason, a way to connect and bring it to real estate locally. Find information on maybe any kind of other archery things that are coming to town. So they do a couple of cool competitions that come to town. I think Snow Basin is hosting one next year. And they like hike around the mountain and they shoot at different targets all the way around the whole thing. And they make this big circuit. It's a whole like archery competition. Maybe he knows, or maybe he doesn't know, or she, I don't know if it's a female or male. But come a little well versed on some of that stuff. Set it up in a way that you can say, I know you were into archery and I just saw this event. Have you ever been to one of these? Man, it looks really cool. It's it's come up in 2 weeks. See if there's stuff out there like that. So find that kind of thing. Also know that if they're into archery, maybe that's a great closing gift, right? If you do sell a house to them, right? Maybe get them a target or a gift card to the local archery store or something like that. Then you're a little more personalized. So prepare your conversation list. So you can do it on a piece of paper like this if you want, or if you are structuring your database inside a command, you're going to already have the list, right? As you set up, let's just say, so if you have quarterly call plan for people, once you get it set up, you don't want to put them all on the same day, the first day of every quarter, because then you're going to have like 90 people to call in one day. That's never going to happen, right? So you want to shift those dates, the due dates for those quarterly call plans to kind of be stretched out throughout the month. Ideally, you open your phone when your database grows At first, it might only be 1 or 2 a day. Well, you could look at your week and stack them and do them all in one day, leave them so their deadlines are different and start adding. Ideally, though, you get to where your database is big enough that you've got 10 people call every single day that just, it pops up on your phone. It's been 90 days since you called Travis. I'm gonna call Travis. You click on his thing, you might see the note. We talked about archery, we talked about the Bluegrass Festival and this, right? Hey, man, you still shooting that bow? Great. Cool, man, I saw this, you know, whatever it is, right? You want to try and relate where you can. Not everyone's gonna have a connection point. Not everyone's gonna have that note in there. You might call a lot of these people and have nothing, right? And you could even say that, hey, I called you a few months ago, I didn't hear back. I just wanted to touch base and just see how things are. Okay, then the third call, you might be like, man, I hope everything's okay. I called a couple times the last 6 months and haven't been able to hear back. I just, really hope that you're doing well. And you can kind of structure your conversation. Travis Larson, maybe you met him at our office.
I think so.
He's funny, great guy, and he's got a line who he is sometimes, he texts people through their command system or whatever system he's using, and after like the 4th or 5th one of them not replying, it says something like, man, are you mad at me, or do you hate me or something? And it's just like in your face, like, I've reached out 6 times and you haven't replied, do you hate me or something? And so, come up with what works for you, but creating your conversation list is important, but don't spend all day creating lists and never calling. Set them up automatically as they streamline into your bucket. Put dates on them that you're going to follow up and call back and just get it done. Right? So couple of resources here, and again, I think it's just us. I really do, but it's 7:40, so that's good. Oh, okay, good. So hopefully they can hear me. I apologize. I'm not very tech savvy and my computer doesn't show your faces. Is there anyone asking questions in the chat room? Okay.
No, and I can
Yeah,
hear
it's
you
weird that I say
fine.
when
No, I
you're-
can hear you.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can hear you fine.
Okay, good. We're doing okay?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't want to not involve you guys. If you have questions, come through Caitlin's computer because it's not showing up on mine.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 systems basically that you have access to. One is Command. This is your database. This is your CRM basically, right? This is your complete follow through system. This is your transaction management platform. This is your lead to lead your prospect to lead all the way through to a buyer, to seller, to close, and then you have a post-closing system. And there's a ton of robust opportunities in here to take advantage of. And this is essentially what the dashboard looks like. Again, quarterly calls, see those? If you're on your phone, it's going to come up with the same thing. So there's no excuse. Caitlin, I'm driving, I can't do it all day. I don't have my names in front of you. You do, because you just hit command and it's right there on your phone. And if it's set up, it's easy. And you can literally click the name and their phone number will populate. You hit call, and you don't have to hit your phone app or anything. You just calls them right from there. So use command, get used to using it. Don't get yourself lost in the million bajillion features. Don't worry too much about how to create a marketing piece and all the social media stuff. If you have people to call them, right? And get them engaged and have those conversations. And then you'll find the reasons that you now need to put a listing postcard together because you got a listing. That'll be a really good problem to have. And it's easy enough that you can learn that later. So I would worry about most is integrating my contacts into command and creating systems and follow-up plans so that I can engage a call. Now Connect is another place where I think it's wise to spend some time, but again, don't get lost in the videos here and forget to call your leads, call your contacts, build your database. So inside of Connect at the top of command, when you go to command and log in, there's essentially 2 tabs. You get Connect, and that'll take you to this website where there's tons of videos, all kinds of all tutorial type videos. Yep, there's step-by-step instructions on how to use command. There's, anything that you might want to see inside of Keller Williams world exists inside of here. Some of it's KW produced, some of it's agent produced. There's a ton of resources in there that I think that are really helpful. But again, the last thing I want to do is come back to an accountability session and have, 5 phone calls a day be the goal. So 25 for a week. At the end of a week, we're talking. I'm saying, hey, how did your 25 phone calls go? And you go, I only called 6, but I watched 7 videos and I learned how to make social media postcard or social media campaigns. and postcards, right? I want to know that you called the 25 and then you hopped into Connect, right? It's great tools, it's shiny objects, but don't get distracted about the complexity of the business. It's as easy as making the phone call. It really is, and having a way and a method to let them know that you're in real estate, and that you would love to help them out if they ever decide they want to buy or sell, or if they have a friend who wants to refer, but they'd opt to refer, that you would be welcome to take them. So, we're not doing section 11 today. Are we? I think so. I was told not.
I don't know.
No, we are not. So I'm gonna leave it there. What I want to do now, though, is I want to walk through, we have about 5 minutes, so again, I hope everyone in Zoom can hear me. I get a little passionate about this piece because I think it's important for lead generation and lead follow-up, and you have to personalize it for you in a way that works. So I do it in my own kind of crafted, indiscreet, more or less passive type of way. This happens when you get to a stage where you're already in business. I'm working with you, Caitlin. You and I are you're gonna buy a house, I'm gonna be your buyer. What I like to do at that point, we've already done the initial consultation. I know what you're looking for, I know what your budget is, I've already talked to your lender, and you've agreed to work with me. Okay? But as we're signing that agreement, what I like to say is simply this. It's called a promise, and you'll hear it done in different ways in real estate trainings all the time. You'll hear this. The promise is something like this. Caitlin, I'm really excited that you decided to work with me, and I can hardly wait to get you guys in the right house. We're going to seek out, find the absolute best house. Through that process, though, I just want to let you know that I promise to give you the most upstanding and best service that you've ever had in a real estate transaction. If this is your first one, I want it to blow anything out of the water that you might ever have in the future, or that any of your friends or family have ever experienced in real estate. So I promise that I'm going to bring that same energy and same professionalism and expertise to the table for you. All I ask in return is that if I'm able to fulfill that promise, that you would introduce me to one person who might want to buy or sell real estate, or just even have a general real estate question throughout the transaction. Do you think that's something we could do? If I bring that high level of service, would you be willing to introduce me to one of your friends or family who might be interested in buying real estate?
Of course.
Of course. Okay, great, Caleb. Awesome. Sign here, boom, bam, done, right? That's where I leave. Okay, and then we move to this. So again, that's a lot more aggressive than passive, and not exactly how I say it, but I say it somewhat to that effect. I'm asking for a referral in exchange for my promise to deliver the best service in the industry. It's as simple as this promise is. I'm asking for a referral in exchange for the best service you can ever get in the industry. I'm going to give you the best service. You're going to give me a referral. Okay, now we're shopping. Caitlin, I've got 3 houses lined up to show you on Friday, 2 on Saturday. I can hardly wait. Meet me at 3 o'clock at the park or at the office, and we're going to go on a little tour and see some houses. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Can't wait to see you there. We meet, we talk, we go see a couple houses. Second house, somewhere along the way, I say, Caitlin, I'm just curious. We saw the first house. What did you think of it? It was okay?
What's the location? The layout was good.
Okay, great. So if I can find you one maybe in a better location with a similar layout, maybe be a little more enticing. I'll make note of that. Thank you so much. This next house is this and that and the other. It's got all these features. Off to the next house. So then at the next house, we see it and go through it and taking some notes and do my normal showing process. However, and somewhere along the way, I'm going to say, Caitlin, I'm curious. We've seen a couple houses now. We've got you introduced to your lender. I'm just curious how I'm delivering on the promise I made to deliver you the best service in the industry, in the real estate industry. How do you feel about how I'm doing it? Good, great. I'm so glad to hear it. So you still feel comfortable referring me to a friend or family or someone who might have a need to buy or sell real estate, or who might want to just have a question?
Are you really going to do that though?
You should. Again, in Caitlin's words and in Caitlin's manner, right? I'm kind of going a little bit broad and overboard with how I would say this, but you're going to find your way to integrate this into the conversation, maybe with not such exuberance and excitement, but the same message. I'm going to deliver you the highest level of service in the industry in exchange for a referral. Along the way, I'm going to ask at almost every point in the transaction, how am I delivering on my promise to deliver you the best service in the industry? I want you to tell me I'm doing great. I want you to tell me I'm not doing so great, then I make a correction to become great, right? I want to know the truth, the big bad, I want to know all of it, right? So first home, second home, we talk, we get a home, we make an offer. Okay, great. I'm curious now, we've gone through the offer and I've walked you through all the contract and documents. Do you feel really comfortable about, I don't know, the question, do you answer all your questions? Do you feel good about where we're at right now? Do you feel educated to where this is a comfortable process for you? Great, so excited. So would you say that I'm still delivering at the high end of the promise that I delivered to bring you the best service in the industry in real estate based on where we're at today in the conversation? Perfect. So the next steps are, we're gonna schedule your inspection. We're gonna get your loan officer the documents, we're gonna get the title company, we're gonna, we're gonna present the offer and negotiate where we're at in the conversation. We're gonna tell them where you're at in the process, explain to them the next steps, explain to them when you're gonna contact them next. And then you move on. The next time you call them again, what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ask them about the promise. I'm either gonna be really blunt and ask for the referral at that point, or I'm just gonna vaguely put it out there, right? Again, cool, I'm delivering on my promise, right? And at some point, they're gonna say, shit. All right, he's delivering on his promise. I have yet to deliver on mine to give him a referral. Right, so you're gonna ask for him all the way through the thing. At some point, you could at the inspection say, look, I'm curious, I feel like I've been delivering on my promise to bring the highest level of service in the industry to this transaction. You still feel that same way? Then not, there's all those sales techniques that you do, right? To get to accept that. Hopefully you say yes, and then say, great. Well, so I'm curious, who do you know who might want to experience the same level of expertise and the same level of professionalism in real estate that you know that's in your circle? Do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell, or who might just have some general questions about real estate? You ask for the referral, like legit ask for it. And the other times you're sprinkling saying, I'm delivering my promise. They're gonna remember that they promised to deliver you a referral. Now you're gonna ask for it, right? In the next maybe meeting or two, you don't ask for it, but you still ask about the promise. How am I delivering on the promise to bring you the highest level of service in the real estate? Great, so excited. I fell short on that last email. I didn't have the couple of date pieces in there. Man, I'll make sure to correct that and get it going. Don't be afraid to hear that you didn't hit the highest level, because you might not. Your real goal is twofold. One, to get a referral, but two, sharpen your business. If they tell you things along the way that you can make course correction and be better next time, take note, do it. You get all the way to closing, you hopefully have already gotten a referral, or maybe two. But if you haven't at closing, you could say bluntly, I'm really confused. We got all the way to the closing table here. I'm so excited to get you guys into this new property. And along the way, we had a lot of conversations about how I was delivering on my promise to give you the best service in the real estate industry. And yet I still haven't been introduced to anybody in your circle who wants to buy or sell real estate. Do you just not know anyone who's looking to buy or sell real estate, or did I fall short on my promise? And you can craft it however Caitlin wants to craft it. But you can be pretty blunt, right? Or did I fulfill my promise to bring you the highest level? Great. So who do you know? Like, do you know someone I can call today or tomorrow? And just ask. Again, I'm pretty passive, so what I just delivered was not exactly how I do it. We're not flying passive in walking around to show houses and meetings, mostly because of trying to cram into 5 minutes, but it might take you over a month and a half span. But you get the idea. Make a promise in exchange for the referral or for that connection, that contact, and then don't forget about it. Ask and follow up. When they give you the referral, celebrate the crap out of that. Celebrate with a box of crumble cookies to their house. Celebrate with a phone call. Celebrate with all the things. Keep them posted 2 weeks later. Hey, just want to let you know, I just went out with George and Mary. We saw a couple houses out in Layton. I don't know if they're going to buy it yet or not, but I'm really excited to work with them. They're just fantastic. They're not as awesome as you guys, but they're really great. And I'm so thankful for your referral, right? They go under contract. Hey, looks like we found it. Like, keep them in the loop a little bit. Don't tell them all the details about finances and stuff, but keep them excited that you're really taking care of their friends. And if you ever know anyone else who wants to experience my top-notch, best of the best real estate professionalism, you're welcome to any other referrals you may have. Right. So that's how you keep the circle going at the bottom, right? Is in that conversation through your first transaction. If you do that kind of business and you do that kind of conversation, and you have a follow-up plan to make sure that happens, I guarantee you will get referrals. And there's nothing better than just getting the phone call that says, hey, Caitlin, my best friend, Suzanne wants to buy a house and she actually has a home to sell as well. Would you be willing to meet with her? You're like slam dunking the deal, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you really are. because they want to work with you because they already knew Caitlin, right? They want to work with you because they got the warm referral. When you show up and you have that same expertise and the same enthusiasm about what you do, it doesn't matter if they're gonna be competing with other agent interviews, they're gonna pick you, right? That's the attitude you gotta go in with, so. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I speak faster the longer I speak, so, I do hope that there was at least one piece. I look at these classes and every time I come, even after being in business for 20 years, I always pick up something small, one thing, and that's what's most important. So I don't expect anyone on Zoom or you in the room here to take everything we talked about, but I hope that whether it's the forward conversation or the lead follow-up with a promise or putting everything else aside and doing your lead generation first and foremost, even if you don't know the contracts and documents yet, like, who cares? You gotta make the call and you gotta find your way to engage with the client, to engage with that contact, to get them to become a true lead, become a buyer or seller, your client forever, and not just your client forever, but your client forever that gives you more clients who become more of your forever clients. And then eventually you're that agent that in the office when a newer agent says, hey, well, where do you get your business? Dane, for instance. Dane, where do you get your business? I guarantee you Dane's gonna say, that's what I meant. My past business, my referrals, that's where I get business. You don't see Dane running ads, and not saying that running ads are bad, I'm just saying he's been in it long enough and doing the right things. Because there's agents who've been in it a long time that aren't doing the right things, that are still hustling to try and get new leads and deals and things happening. At a level that maybe they don't need to. You'll always need to be doing some open houses. You'll always need to be doing some lead generation to refill the bucket, for sure. But you can absolutely offset how many leads are coming into that bucket by knowing your stuff and just being you, but integrating into the conversation the fact that you're in the business. So, I'll leave it at that unless anyone have questions out there in Zoom?
No, thank you. This was all good info. I appreciate it.
Great. Well,
No,
I hope the next time I teach, y'all come just to hear me talk.
I will. I was sick, so I don't think you guys want me to share what I have.
Yeah, it's going around. So I'm glad you stayed home and kept us healthy. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for coming and look forward to seeing and hearing you all again.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm gonna log out, I guess, of Zoom somehow.
Turning my sound on and off to when they were talking or you were talking.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, Zoom, look, we're right here. See you guys. See you. Well, I think I can pause or stop recording.
Wow, it's dark outside, guys.